Moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Nash, welcome.
What up, dog?
You know, I don't know what's going on. You know, this computer, I've had the same computer for 10 years, and it just continues to give me problems. So right now, people are only seeing you, and just like that, 3, 2, and 1. Boom. Now you're off center.
Oh, no. Thanks, Kenner.
But, you know, it is what it is. Hope everyone's had a great day. Had a fun show yesterday. MLB playoffs happening right now as we speak. We dove. I mean, I think we hit on everything that we need to for the week. We could just be done for the week yesterday. We recapped the Browns. We recapped the Bengals. We talked about the struggles, the woes of both teams. The woes of the AFC North is what we'll focus on today as far as who is most equipped to be able to come out of the AFC North, and what are the chances, if you want to do, what are the chances that the AFC North has more than one representative come playoff time? The crazy thing is, Kev, we still have all of November and all of December and the rest of October. I mean, we act as if the playoffs are around the corner. We have 2.5 months of football left to be played. You know, it's funny. Remember last year, the Bengals started out a little slow last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was a point where they came back from behind to beat the Jaguars. They beat the Jaguars. I remember they won on a last-second field goal.
Thursday night football.
But I remember that game. That was the Urban Meyer game, too, by the way, when that fiasco happened. Where
reminded people what he did.
You know, he went home to spend time with his family. And, well, I remember that game specifically because, you know, Bengals fans were booing their team off the field. Everyone was frustrated. And then, you know, a couple games after that, that switch was flipped. But I remember by the time we got to the postseason, that game against the Jaguars had seemed like ages ago. And we are at that. In fact, it was a year ago at this time. I think it was this week. I think it was week 5. I know we're in week 6, heading into week 6. But it was week 5 of the NFL season when the Jags and the Bengals played on Thursday Night Football. When that game happened, Kev. And I remember they booed him off the field. They booed the Bengals off the field. They obviously came back and won in the second half. But I just always remember that by the time we got to the playoffs, I'm like, man, I remember that Urban Meyer fiasco. And it was like ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, when we get to the playoffs, this week we're talking about the 2-3 Browns, the 2-3 Bengals. By the time we even get to the playoffs, we're not going to remember, it's going to seem like we could be talking about the Browns and the Bengals being two of the strongest teams in football by the time we get there. That's what's crazy is right now the fan bases for both teams are uncomfortable. The fan base for your team should be uncomfortable. Ravens fans don't know how to feel. There's just a big jumbled mess of 2-3 and 3-2s. And I don't know what to make of it at all. It's way too early, but at the same time, we're starting to see a pattern on teams losing the same way and not winning in the same fashion. And I don't know which is more concerning. Is it more concerning losing the same way every time 5 games in, or is it more concerning not winning the same way. Like some teams don't have an identity. The Titans, although they're a run team, they still don't have an identity. They're not a great defensive team. The pass game is taking a major hit with no A.J. Brown. They've won 3 straight, but they've won 3 straight, and they don't feel good about who they are. That's what's crazy. Like, they don't
I think the players feel good. I don't think the fans feel good.
So it's one of those things where I don't know which teams are in, worse shape. There's teams that are like the Packers have a winning record. They don't feel good right now. Like, they don't know who they are. I don't think the Titans, they know who they want to be. I don't think they know who they are. The Giants are 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident the Giants. They're my top 10. We'll get to our power rankings later today, but like, I'm not sold on the Giants, but it's kind of hard not to put them in there. They're 4-1. They're taking care of business 5 weeks in. And it's like, as a Browns fan, I have issues with the defense, but I like how we're playing. I like how we're running the football. I like that Jacoby Brissett looks functional for 3.5 quarters a game. I feel good about that. The Bengals, they should feel good that they have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. They should feel good that although they've struggled, they still show up to every game with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon. There are teams like the Packers who have no weapons hoping to win games. Even though they're in a funk, they have the weapons to come out of it. It's weird, but I feel like Browns fans and Bengals fans, we decompressed yesterday, we vented, but now today, as I'm sitting back and thinking about it, I think both are okay. I think that the Browns know at the light at the end of the tunnel is, and regardless of your opinion of how they got him and what he did, Deshaun Watson, they're getting him back, and there could be a whole other mess as far as, how rusty he is coming back. But for right now, the last time he was on the field, he was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He just needs to be top 10. He doesn't have to be top 5. He just needs to be top 10, and the Browns are going to be a significantly better football team. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's crazy. For the Bengals, they may not have something to look forward to as far as someone coming back to help them, but at the end of the day, any week, they know that switch could flip. I just think yesterday was the venting day. Today is the day that we could just kind of breathe a little bit and say, you know what? There's a lot of teams out there that don't know who they are. There's a lot of teams out there that don't know what they have. The Browns know they're going to get their star quarterback here in about a month. The Bengals know that they have elite weapons on both sides of the ball. I think Browns and Bengals fans just need to chill, and we all need to realize that it's going to come down between the Browns and the Bengals in the final couple weeks of that of this season. We just need to chill. I think everything's better than what we think it is. Bengals fans are a little worried because they expect it to be rolling right now. Browns fans are a little worried because the games that we're losing because of the wrong side of the football. We're losing because of the defense when we should be winning games because of the defense. But outside of that, a lot to feel good about for both teams when it's all said and done.
Yeah, there's a ton to feel good about. You talked about how teams find a way to lose, like the Browns. They're losing different ways, while the team that I root for, they lose the exact same way every single week. They can't move the ball past the 50-yard line. I mean, it's the same story. Hike, sack, hike, loss of yards, hike, incompletion, punt. Hey, defense, bail us out. Oh, you can't bail us out the entire game? Oh, you're starting to get tired, defense? Oh, dudes are starting to get hurt, defense? What's wrong with the defense? They gave up 35 points in the first half to the Buffalo Bills. That's what happens when you don't move past the 40-yard line. That's exactly what happened. So when you're looking at the Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals who find themselves in games, I would much rather be in that position than the latter. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's a lot to feel good about. From the Cincinnati Bengals perspective, we had that question over the summer about, is the playoff defense going to be here in the regular season? I won't say the defense isn't play as well as it did in the playoffs, but it's playing better than it did last regular season. So the defense is better. The offense just needs to catch up to the defense. And with those weapons and with the offensive alignment improvement, you expect eventually things will start clicking for the offense. You just hoping it starts clicking sooner rather than later, since you already have 2 division losses.
All right, so what we're going to do, let's open up the show today. We'll go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of a music background. We're going to do a little confidence meter game.
Okay.
The confidence meter. We're going to go through quite a few NFL teams, where they're at right now. We'll talk about the fan bases. Yesterday, we talked about which fan base between the Browns and Bengals should be most concerned about their 2-3 start. But as I said, we just need to chill. Nothing is won or lost in the first 5 weeks of the season. All right, the Bengals, you're not out of anything yet. It stinks that you've lost 2 division games, but we watched this team kind of struggle out the gate a little bit last year too. Maybe not from a record standpoint, but from an efficiency standpoint, and look how good they were by the end. Point is, right now, who you are right now doesn't technically matter. Where can you improve? The Bengals still have the best, I think, the best wide receiving core in football. Joe Mixon, hopefully he figures out whatever it is. I saw that he called a players only meeting with the offensive line. If I'm the offensive line, I'm going to be like, well, our job is to protect Burrow. We're protecting Burrow now. Maybe we need to be calling a meeting with you, and you need to do your job. But anyways, that's
buy them stuff, Joe. Buy them
yes,
stuff.
Exactly.
They'll block better for you. Buy them some Louis bags, some Rolexes. They'll start opening up the holes for you.
About Joe Mixon, I was talking about Joe Burrow.
Both of them.
They spend all their money on their suits, fancy ass suits. Confidence meter game on a scale of 1 to 10. We're going to go through some of these teams that are kind of hovering in the pack as far as what you believe their fan bases should be feeling confidence-wise on a scale of 1 to 10. We'll get to the Browns and Bengals. We talked about that yesterday. Look, I think that both have a lot of reasons to be concerned. I think the Bengals, because of the fact that they lost 2 division games, you've convinced me of that, should be concerned. Let's go with the Los Angeles Rams, Kev. The Los Angeles Rams are the defending Super Bowl champions. They beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl last year. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned should Rams fans be about their team? Because right now, this Rams team they have a horrible offensive line. Their defense is being pushed around. They're 2-3, and they've been outscored by 36. They have a minus 36 on the point differential on the season. Scale of 1 to 10, Rams fans should be concerned.
8.
What? An 8.
8. They should be super alarmed because they can't protect Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's getting hit and he's getting sacked a ton. And then you take a look at the defense. We want to talk about how great Aaron Donald is. We want to talk about how great Jalen Ramsey is. Well, they haven't been playing great on that side of the ball. So you got physically dominated by the San Francisco 49ers on both lines of scrimmages 2 weeks ago. Then just get dominated by the Dallas Cowboys this past weekend, where Cooper Rush threw for 100 yards and they still beat you by 12 points. So obviously you're headed to Carolina this week. They're going through an upheaval with the coaching, and then their starting quarterback, Baker Mayfield, is not going to play. So you imagine they'll get that game. But guess what? They got the 49ers up again, a team that they've had trouble with left and right, especially that defense. So it's levels of panic, and they are at an 8 because they can't run the ball. The only person that Matthew Stafford seems to throw the ball to is Cooper Kupp. So why did you get Allen Robinson? Because you're not giving him opportunities to catch the ball. Van Jefferson's hurt, so the third wide receiver for them is out. It is a high level of panic if I'm a Rams fan at an 8 for me.
We are live. If you head to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, the ESPN Dayton Facebook page, or ESPN Dayton YouTube channel, you could watch the show live and jump in the conversation, or give us a call at 518-1410. But there's a lot of 3 and 2 teams, a lot of 2 and 3 teams, and there's even some 4 and 1 teams I'm going to throw into the mix as far as how concerned or how confident are these fan bases of these teams 5 weeks in. I opened up the show talking about last year. I remember specifically that Jaguars and Bengals game where they played a sluggish first half. Bengals fans booed their team off the field. They came back and won. And then I remember by the time we got to the playoffs, I'm like, man, remember that Jags game where they just did not look sharp? The same struggles last year, what they're having now, where they just weren't really fluid offensively. And then we saw how good they were at the end. So I'm using that as an example of Bengals fans shouldn't panic because there's a lot of time to figure it out. There's still 2.5 months of the season left before we even get to the postseason. And the Browns, they're 2-3 right now, and they have some winnable games coming up before they even get their quarterback coming back here in about a month. So both fan bases should just relax a little bit, but I understand the concern. But going around the NFL, let's go to the Denver Broncos, Kev. They're 2-3. They were supposed to be Super Bowl favorites or contenders after getting Russell Wilson. Of course, Russell Wilson has not looked like the Russell Wilson everyone expected him to look like. The Denver Broncos definitely have not looked like the Denver Broncos we were all expecting them to look like. On a scale of 1 to 10, the confidence meter for the Denver Broncos fan base is what?
Panic meter. I'm going to go at an 8 for them as well. The defense is still there.
A panic meter.
You said
meter.
confidence.
Confidence meter. How confident should
how confident? Well, it was just throw that to a 2 then, because they shouldn't feel confident at all. I know Russell Wilson gets all the headlines for the type of guy he is. There's a lot of podcasts talk about how corny he is or whatever. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to just get into the way he's playing. He's playing terrible. This is plain and simple. He's not performing at all. We talk about Jerry Jeudy and him coming out of college and he's going to be unlocked. Now he has a Super Bowl winning quarterback throwing in the ball. Well, that ain't happening. Melvin Gordon is fumbling the ball all over the place. He leads the league in fumbles. That's not good. And we talk about the head coach, and we talked a ton about head coaches yesterday, but he's culpable as well for everything that's going on with the Denver Broncos, they had to hire an additional coach to the coaching staff because he couldn't manage the clock. So from top to bottom, from head coach to the quarterback to the running back, it's a cluster. It's a total cluster. So 2.
So I liked your version better, the panic meter. So now moving forward, it's the panic meter. Because a lot of these fan bases are not confident that they are, but I want to.
What in 8?
Yeah, so yes, Ryan Strong says fire Hackett.
Dude.
Damon Hahn says the Broncos will lose 11 games this year. That's a team that had they gone 11-6, I would have been like 11-6 is not the best record for a team that is a Super Bowl contender, but like 11 losses. Damon Hahn says he even says the Rams will miss the playoffs.
It's looking like they can't move the ball. They can't protect Stafford. And then we saw how Stafford played when he was with the Lions when he wasn't protected. He gets antsy and starts forcing the ball, and those lead to interceptions. He's already been known as, quote-unquote, a gunslinger. He led the league last year in interceptions. I'm predicting he's going to do that the same if he doesn't get hurt.
The Colts are a 500 team. They have 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. And they got Matt Ryan. Right. All right, this was supposed to be a major upgrade at quarterback. In fact, the Colts, the only thing holding them back last year in the eyes of Colts fans and their organization was the quarterback. I like Matt Ryan. I don't think he is the best version of what he was years ago, but I still think he's a very good quarterback. But Matt Ryan's not the problem with the Colts right now. That's a team right there that was supposed to be a contender in the AFC as well. They're 500, 5 games in. It's not the worst record you can have, but I wouldn't feel good if I'm a Colts fan. But the panic meter for Colts fans on a scale of 1 to 10 is what, Kev?
I'm at a 6 because they got everything ahead of them. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor didn't play last week, but they still went to Denver and got the win. Even though it was a 12-9 win, all field goals, they still got the win. And in the NFL, that's the only thing that matters. You don't need style points in the NFL. This ain't college football. Get the dub, keep it pushing. So they're still in the mix, but there is a lot to be concerned about the way Matt Ryan is playing. Not only the way Matt Ryan is playing, the fact that they went from Jacoby Brissett as a starter quarterback to Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz. Now to Matt Ryan, next year is going to be Cooper Rush. Like, this is the cycle that they're on right now. They just like, oh man, that quarterback didn't work, try somebody else. That your quarterback didn't work, try somebody else. They're in that limbo because they're supposed to have a good offensive line. They're supposed to have a play action game to take deep shots to Michael Pittman Jr., everything like that. That's not working right now. The defense is hanging in there the best they can, but you look at some of these scores, you're expecting Matt Ryan to come in there and just hit the ground running because you look at how they played last year with Carson Wentz, and the problem was Carson Wentz was turning the ball over. So you think, okay, Matt Ryan, he's a little over the hill, but he ain't going to turn the ball over. Well, he's turning the ball over. So that is a level of panic, but they're still in it because they got Jacksonville this upcoming week, and then they go to Tennessee. You win those games back-to-back, you in first place again.
So the panic meter for the Colts is what? 5. Just right in between. Just kinda, I don't know, just a little cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less than that. But all right, how about the Cardinals? They give max money to Kyler Murray in the offseason. They extended the general manager. They gave an extension to Cliff Kingsbury. A season ago at this time, not really at this time, but at the halfway point. But at this time, the Cardinals were rolling. Kyler Murray was an MVP candidate 5 weeks into the season. Hell, he was an MVP candidate 8 games into the season. At the halfway point last year, the Cardinals were the team that everyone said, oh, man, they're going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. They're going to challenge Tom Brady, and they're going to challenge the Buccaneers to get to the Super Bowl last year. And obviously that definitely was not the case. But if you're a Cardinals fan, your QB gets signed, your coach gets an extension, your general manager's there long term. They spend a lot of money. They got Watt. They got a lot of good pieces on that team, Kev. They're 2-3 though, and they're losing close football games, and they just don't seem to be on the same page. If you're a Cardinals fan, the panic meter is what?
7. Should be at a 9, but since Hopkins should be coming back from suspension soon, I'm gonna only go at a 7. This is one of the rare teams I actually got to see in person. I got to go to the Rams-Cardinals game when I was in Phoenix a couple weeks ago. The offense is a cluster. They only move the ball in the 2-minute drill. They can't drive the length of the field. They can't put together enough plays to drive the ball down the field. They can only move the ball down the field and hike and have Kyler Murray make some miracle plays and running outside the pocket. That's not playing quarterback. That's not offense. So, one, you're going to get him hurt because he's doing literally everything, and he's not sturdy like a Russell Wilson. Like, he's a small dude. Not only like height-wise, but he's not like, to use Shannon Sharp saying, don't use the word thick, but he's not a thick guy. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at, they've lost 3 home games. You're 0-3 at the crib. That's a recipe for disaster. 2-0 on the road, but 0-3 at the house. The only reason I'm not at a full 9 is because DeAndre Hopkins is going to come back eventually. So that hopefully will free up Hollywood Brown to get one-on-one coverage. And then also they're 2-3 along with everybody else in their division besides the San Francisco 49ers, who are 3-2.
The Green Bay Packers. Now they have a winning record right now.
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers are 3-2. But they don't look good in their wins, and they definitely don't look good in their losses. They have no weapons on the offensive side of the ball. They have a very solid defense. Aaron Rodgers, obviously just a very strange personality, but, it's not one of those. He has a personality that's very hard to kind of get those to rally around him a little bit, and they don't have the talent to kind of buy into him right now. If you're a Packers fan, and if Packers fan Tim's listening, I'm curious his thoughts, but should Packers fans be panicking? Is there a reason to panic? You've seen this team 5 weeks in. This is an example of the team I said at the beginning. I don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
They have Aaron Rodgers, so you want to feel comfortable with them. Their defense is solid, but I don't know what their identity is. Their identity is they're the team with Aaron Rodgers on it. That's not really an identity, but that's what they're known for. Should Packers fans be panicking about the Packers' chances of making the playoffs and making a run? Because they're 3-2 right now. I get that. But they're coming off a loss against the Giants. They just don't look elite. They don't look good, Kev. 3-2 or not.
6
on the panic meter.
Yes, because listen to this lineup of teams that they're going to get ready to play. The New York Jets. Everybody's going to say the New York Jets, they should be able to beat the New York Jets. Well, the New York Jets are 3-2, and something that the New York Jets have is a defense. They get after the passer with Jermaine Johnson. Sauce Gardner is locking down his side of the field. They have a good defense. And what are the Green Bay Packers struggling with? Offense. So you're going up against good defense there. Then they go to the Washington football team, the Commanders. Yes, I know Carson Wentz is not a great quarterback, but Washington football team still gets after the quarterback. Secondary, little suspect, but they still have a good defensive line. What are the Green Bay Packers struggling with Vinatieri coming back from injury? Issues. Then you go to Buffalo. We all know what Buffalo is about. Then you go to Detroit. You think maybe we can probably get a win over Detroit, but then you got the Dallas Cowboys, who was being anchored by that defense. So you got 3 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams on there you could potentially lose to, and I would honestly think that they will lose 3 of those games. So it may be even at a 7 for me if I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. Like, I'm looking at the Jets like going into the season like, oh, that's a win for sure. I don't think that's a win for sure anymore, man.
We'll have a couple minutes. Let's look at last night's Monday Night Football matchup. The Raiders lose in a very, very good game, but they fall to 1-4 on the season. They go out and they get Devontae Adams. They were in the playoffs a year ago. They go out and get McDaniels, and this is supposed to be a team that, is going to click offensively. They have a good running back. Their offensive line's a little suspect, but they have Renfro. This team just has been a mess to start. They're 1-4. I wish we had our Raiders fan, Jason Fitz, on today. He's going to be on with us tomorrow, so we'll have to ask him this tomorrow. But Raiders fans, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's their panic meter right now?
10. Full-fledged 10.
Panic.
All-out panic. I know we're going to talk more about the Monday night game. So much went on, from people going for 2-point conversions when you didn't have to roughing the passer. Look, man, not Tom McDaniels, that's his dad. He's a legendary coach. Josh McDaniels. His dad, Tommy McDaniels, used to coach up at Ken McKinley. Anyway, but you look at that offense and you look at the weapons that they have, and they're just not producing to that level. I know the defense wasn't supposed to be lights out, but they're just losing all these close games, and you're up 14 on KC. And I know it was only in the first half, and Kansas City has come back from bigger deficits than that before. But like, this was kind of going to be like that turning point for them to say, like, we're going to go into Kansas City, get that dub, and then go to Houston next week and then start piling up these wins. I don't know if you can feel good about yourself like right now. I just don't. Like, there's situations where you lose a close game, but you still feel good about yourself. Kind of like dialing back to when the Giants went into New England and played them tight, and then eventually they faced them in the Super Bowl, and they had that confidence like, well, we played this undefeated team tight before. I think we can win. They built off of that. I don't think the Raiders can build off of this loss. This is one of those losses that's going to haunt you for the rest of the season, to say like, look, man, we had it. We had a great opportunity to get the win, and they took it from us, or we took it from ourselves, and now you're up against the ropes. So you think you're going to go down to Houston and get a win. Maybe you can go to New Orleans and get a win. But right now you're so far behind. And you already lost to Kansas City, and you play them again later on in the season. I would be on a full 10 if I'm a Raiders fan.
All right, and last but not least, your Pittsburgh Steelers.
10.
Okay, just 10. Next. No, 1-4. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. I think that's about to happen for the first time in his career. But this team, look, it was just one of those things where, okay, we saw them play at least the playoffs the last couple of seasons. Somehow Big Ben, with that bad offensive line and the same weapons, has been able to win football games, or at least more football games than what they have so far. Kev, what's different this year? Why are they worse? Was Big Ben better in his last couple of years than what we thought? I mainly asked this because weapons are the same. The offensive line's just as bad as what it's been the last couple of years. I know TJ Watt's out, but TJ Watt's not putting points up on the board, so that's not the issue.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I argued the last 2 years that Big Ben was not as bad as people were making him sound. He was still in the top 5 in pass attempts on the season. He was still throwing for a boatload of yards. He was still moving the ball up and down the field. Am I right? Was Big Ben better the last 2 years than what we thought? Because look at the major drop. This roster's not that different than what it's been the last 2 years. Big Ben's the biggest piece missing, and they look just absolutely lost without him.
I think the biggest piece missing is TJ Watt. They are officially 0-8-1 when TJ Watt doesn't play at all. What TJ Watt brings to that defense is just next level playmaking ability, not only in the run game, but obviously the passing game by getting after the quarterback. We all know the TJ SWAT that he's known for and everything like that. But the biggest thing about Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers for the last couple of years when he was playing, they're in close games. They're always in close games outside of this game versus the Buffalo Bills. They got their panties blown off. But he would be able to make enough plays in the fourth quarter. He would play average to terrible quarters 1, 2, and 3, but they would still just hang around. And Big Ben, as he's known for in his career, making plays in the fourth quarter. And that's what he continued to do, even though he got older and less mobile. He was still able to do that. Now, Mitchell Trubisky was unable to do that. You go to the rookie, his first game out in Buffalo. You put up 3 points. You're playing in a wind tunnel. You can't push the ball down the field. They just blow you out from the word go. And now you got to go play Tampa Bay. How's that going to work out for you? Not well. Then you got to go down to Miami. How you think that's going to work out for you? Not well. They've been outscored by 50 points this season. Then the Eagles. How you think that's going to work out for you? They are going to be the worst team in the NFL. They're going to have the worst record in the NFL.
Interesting. Yeah, it's just like I said, the roster's pretty identical to the last 2 years. And everyone said, Big Ben's the problem. They look significantly worse without Big Ben with the same pieces around, but we'll get to
Matt Canada.
518
Get out of here.
518-1410. We'll take your calls on the other side. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. I'll have an opportunity for you to win $2,000 coming up around the corner. It's the Kinder's Cash contest. I'll have that winning word that you can take to wingam.com and enter it. So keep that in mind. That's coming up around the corner as well. But 518-1410. Be thinking of this until we come back. Which team has a winning record that is not as good as what their record shows? And which team has a losing record that is not as bad as what their record shows? 518-1410, or let us know in the chat. Kev, you're just throwing that money around. We're supposed to give that away. $2,000. A chance for you to win that coming up around the corner.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com. You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
It's time for Frickin' Football. Frickers has a way to make this the winning season. Try a Frickin' Chicken Taco, Grilled Chicken Taco, or Mississippi Barbecue Taco for a limited time. Enjoy a 48-ounce personal pitcher of domestic draft beer.
I like this kind of party. I like this kind of party, baby.
All the games of college and the NFL at the place that leads the way with inflation-busting prices, everyday values, and where kids eat free. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Service. It starts on our streets and in the hearts of those who heed the call. For Sharon Kennedy, it started with a police badge, risking her life to protect the lives of others. But her service didn't stop there. After putting herself through law school, Kennedy found a new way to serve our state, helping Ohio families and protecting the less fortunate as a disciplined attorney. Today, Sharon Kennedy wears a judge's robe on our state Supreme Court. But her dedication to street-level service hasn't wavered an inch. Kennedy applies the law fairly and compassionately from the bench and works with Ohio's veterans to get them the care and support they deserve. That's why Kennedy enjoys widespread support from law enforcement all across our state, including Ohio's Fraternal Order of Police and dozens of local sheriffs. Heeding the call, Sharon Kennedy, for Ohio Supreme Court.
Paid for by Kennedy for Ohio.
The Ohio Education Association congratulates Amanda Goslin, a middle school teacher in Green Local Schools, this week's Education Champion.
Good for you for having a lot of nerve to run. After 22 years of teaching, I've learned patience, compassion. I've learned that every student learns differently, and it's been a challenge for me, but fun and rewarding to learn how to work with each group. Every year, it's a new group. Things are different. My classroom's different, but we're always a family.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Down the sideline to the 10 and drags a defender in the end zone for a touchdown. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a 50-yard scoring strike from C.J. Stroud. He'll hit the Purdue 40. Down the left side to the 30. Henderson to the 20 to the 10. And into the end zone goes Henderson.
Don't miss the Buckeyes all season long, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on 92.9 Jack FM. Go Bucks! College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev, there's teams with losing records that were like, that team's better than that losing record indicates. And then there's teams with winning records that I'm like, I'm not really completely sold on that team. So we pick up here on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash with that conversation at hand. And again, if you head to wingam.com, if you head to the Facebook page, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, and jump in on the conversation during the live video chat. I'm curious people's thoughts on this particular conversation. Kev, the team that has a losing record, the team that you look at with a losing record that you think is way better than what the record indicates is who? And then the team with the winning record that you're like, yeah, that's smoke and mirrors, I'm not completely sold on that team, is who as well? Where would you go with that?
The team that I don't believe as good as their record is the New York Giants. I know they're 4-1, and my aunt, she listens to the show. She lives in New York, and she's probably going to text me any minute and start saying I'm a hater. But I just don't believe in them long term. And when I say long term, I mean just the rest of the regular season. You look at how Philadelphia is playing. Obviously, everybody and their mom, including myself, was dead wrong about the Dallas Cowboys being cooked after Dak went down. They haven't lost since Dak went down, but they still have to play everybody inside their division. Everybody inside their division, the NFC East, is playing good football. I'm just not a believer in them. I'm not a believer in their outside weapons. At some point, the running game with Saquon is going to get slowed down, so I'm not a believer in the New York Giants up until this point. As far as a losing record, man, there's so many teams to choose from. I mean, you can just close your eyes and take a pick who is not as bad as their losing record is indicating. I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints are 2-3. New Orleans Saints are super banged up everywhere at the quarterback position. Andy Dalton's out there. They actually got a win this past weekend with Andy Dalton. They almost, and I know almost doesn't count, this ain't horseshoes, but they almost beat the 4-1 Minnesota Vikings when they played in London a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to look at the Saints. I think the Saints are better than their 2-3 record.
So I'm looking at these teams that all have winning records. Obviously, Philly 5-0. I don't believe they're the best team in football, but they are one of the top teams in football. They're 5-0. Okay, whatever. But those are the kind of teams I'm talking about. I thought you picked a good one there, the Giants. I think that's an easy one as far as all the teams that are 4-1, especially, which teams do you buy into a little bit more? The reason I buy into the Giants, no, I can't do that because the Dallas Cowboys, it's not like they're winning. They're winning because of their strength, which is their defense. The Cowboys are doing what I thought the Browns would do. I thought the Browns would struggle offensively and lose games because they don't have offensive firepower and then win games because their defense overwhelms teams. That's who the Dallas Cowboys are. they're not beating anyone offensively. I know they're focusing on the run game, but the run game is the managing clock. They're making just enough plays to allow the defense to create turnovers and just to make things difficult for opposing teams. I think Dallas is good, but the Giants, they're just average on both sides of the ball right now. And I think a 17-game season will expose them. I think it's a 7 to 8 win team. I think the NFC East is better than we thought, but I don't think it's as strong as what we think either. Look, when we talk about the strength of divisions, and I'm curious your thoughts on that, I look at them as, well, how many Super Bowl contenders are there? I don't know if outside of Philly, I don't care how good Dallas looks, and I have them high in my power index that we'll get, power rankings coming up that we'll get to. But I don't think the Cowboys are a Super Bowl contender. I don't think they have enough offensive firepower, even when Dak comes back. The Giants aren't a Super Bowl contender, and they're 4-1. I don't know. So in Washington's Washington. In Philadelphia, I like what I've seen, 5 weeks in, but I need to see more. I mean, I think we see a lot of teams who start out hot and then kind of water it down a little bit as the season goes on, like we saw with Arizona last year. So I don't know how strong the NFC East looks like one of the hottest divisions to start. I don't know if they're the best division in football, like I keep reading and seeing all over TV and any articles about them. But I'm going to say I agree with you. The Giants are that team with that winning record that I don't think they're as good as what their record indicates. That's for sure. And then the team with a losing record that I think is better than what that record indicates that they are, as much smack as I talk about, it has to be the Cincinnati Bengals. It has to be the Cincinnati Bengals, because at the end of the day, the Browns are 2-3 because they are bad defensively. The Bengals are not bad offensively. They are playing bad offensively, but they are not bad offensively, and they're definitely not bad defensively. So I took my shots yesterday, but in all reality, I think the team that has a winning record that I don't believe truly reflects who they are as the Giants, and the team with the losing record that I don't think reflects who they are as a team is the Bengals. They started out slow last year, all right, from an efficiency standpoint as well. They didn't really gel early on, and then they got better as the season went on. If the Bengals are still losing these same types of games in weeks 8, 9, and 10, then that's who you are. When you get to weeks 8, 9, and 10 and you're winning and losing certain ways, that's who you are. But I think that the Bengals are that team with the losing record. They don't have any major injuries. No one's out that's really keeping them from winning football games, Kev. They're just not playing well. The offense is not playing well, but the offense isn't bad. There is a difference. There are teams that are bad because they don't have any, like the Patriots, Kev, that's a bad offensive team. But it's not like they're playing bad. They're just bad. Although they figured it out. I don't know what the hell to make about that damn Lions game last week. We'll figure that out later.
Run left, run right.
But the Bengals, run right. The difference between them and the other teams under 500, the Bengals aren't a bad offensive team. They're just not playing well offensively right now. That's why I'll list them that way. The Browns are losing because they are bad defensively. They are not a good defensive team. They sometimes get some situational stops, but they're situations that they've created because of the 90% of the bad defense that they run. So I think the Bengals, to me, are the team with the losing record that I don't think the record truly reflects who they are. And then the Giants are the team, in my opinion, that the winning record doesn't truly reflect who they are. So I'll go with the Bengals because I'm a big Bengals fan.
You brought up Philadelphia. What would Philadelphia have to do for you to give them props or be on where everybody else is with Philly?
Well, since you asked that, let me pull this up from a team efficiency standpoint, offensively. Like defensively, right now they look strong. And look, this is a big week coming up, obviously, because of the fact that there's going to be the Eagles against the Cowboys.
Sunday Night Football. Everybody's going to be watching.
I think that the winner of that, I don't think it's going to totally sway me one way or another, but the Cowboys defense looks legit. So if the offense, for the Eagles goes out there and they continue looking like what they've done already, is the best defense that they've played coming up. Right now, they're the number 2 offense in the NFL, but they haven't played an elite defense yet. They do that. They continue. I'm not saying they have to do exactly what they've done already against a very good defense, but Jalen Hurts, I just need to see it more. The Cardinals are why I'm not buying into the Eagles.
But they're not them, though.
But they are them. This is exactly what the Cardinals did last year. The Cardinals were top 5 in offense and defense last year, the first 8 weeks of the season. And everything that people are saying about the Eagles is exactly what we said about the Cardinals. So I just can't get that out of my head because the Cardinals weren't supposed to be that good last year. Not that good, but they weren't supposed to be the best team in the NFL. And that's what the Eagles are doing right now, even though I think it's the Bills. I don't know. There's something about the Eagles. I just need to see it more. They're new money. They're new. You know how people don't respect new money? The
I
Eagles
wish I had new money.
Show that money. Show that money. By the way, I have a chance for you to win some new money coming up, $2,000. I'm giving away out of Kinner's cash coming up here in a moment. But yeah, that's, I think what it is. I just don't trust the Eagles. I think I just can't get the Eagles in the last couple of years out of my head. Jalen does look good. He's getting better each week. I need to see it a little bit more before I totally buy in.
So Philadelphia, they're 5-0 right now. Just say, for instance, they lose to the Dallas Cowboys. They're 5-1. They're going to beat the Steelers 6-1. Probably going to beat the the Texans 7-1. Probably going to beat the Washington football team, the Commandos 8-1. Like, they're going to be racking up a lot of wins. And I'm not a person that likes to do this, but they're going to rack up a lot of wins before other teams. And I think they're going to ultimately get that number 1 seed in the NFC. And this kind of like goes to the situation where they're going to be getting past to the playoffs, and it's going to be only focused on what they're able to accomplish in the playoffs, because we had a caller last week that was talking about he doesn't believe in Philadelphia either, and they only beat bad teams, kind of like the Cowboys, yada, yada, yada. But at some point, we still got to give props for winning games. And for me, if they do get to a point where they're 7-1, 8-1, I think you got to put them up there because they're still winning. They're winning the games while other teams are losing.
So, and with that being said, and by the way, I'm so glad Shaw was here to point out, by the way, Jalen Hurts is not Murray. Oh, thank God. I thought that was the same guy. Man, every time I'm watching the
both
Eagles,
played
I'm
at
like,
Oklahoma.
I'm always like, is that Kyler Murray? Oh, my God. I've been so confused, but luckily Shaw was here to point out that Jalen Hurts is not Kyler Murray. My goodness.
Who would you rather have, Jalen Hurts or Kyler Murray?
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Teams rallying around Jalen Hurts. But people, to be fair, I don't know. That's not fair, right? Jalen Hurts, because right now there's nothing bad that's come out about him. Kyler Murray, that was a big-time feel-good story, too, when he came into the league. He's a smaller guy. He's, different than most small quarterbacks because he can make plays with his legs. He's very versatile that way. But Kyler Murray hasn't made a lot of friends within that organization. And then, when you make noise and then you don't back it up, that makes you even more unlikable. Jalen Hurts is just a likable dude. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I was
I'm
huge
not
on
out
Kyler
on the
Murray.
Eagles. I'm just not there yet. I'm like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not anti-Eagles. I'm just saying I'm not there yet.
You are a Cowboys fan, though.
Yeah, but I'm in a better mood today. Like, if I complimented the Bengals.
Yeah, this is true.
And then this is why I'm about to get mad at Shaw, because he's about to make me defend the Bengals even more. Are we sure that they're not bad offensively? We are 5 games in. When does it become a problem? They've lost 2 games in the division. In my opinion, they aren't making the playoffs. So your opinion that they're not making the playoffs, I hope you're right. Let's just be clear. Second of all, I am positive that they're good offensive. This is the same offense that took them to a Super Bowl last year. The same coaching staff. The same everything with an improved offensive line. It's only a matter of time before that switch is flipped, and it's going to be a nightmare for me dealing with Bengals fans every week. That's why I'm trying to enjoy their struggles now. But I am the biggest Bengals hater out there, and even I know that at any week that switch could be flipped. This isn't a team that lost anyone from last year of significance, Kev.
Right.
They actually upgraded. Well, we talked about the offensive line being the only thing they upgraded at. I actually really like Hurst. Their tight end is really good.
Yeah, he's balling.
And that's the one thing that offense was missing last year. As far, it wasn't the worst position, group for him, but it wasn't but I like Hurst. He's done some fantastic things. So if you get Hurst rolling at the same time as obviously Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, this is a good offense that's just not playing well. There are big time differences in offenses that aren't good and offenses that just aren't playing well. And that's the Bengals. The Bengals weren't playing good offensively last year, a month into the season. Joe Burrow was leading the league in interceptions 2 months in. And then all of a sudden that switch flipped, and that's what I'm waiting for. And when that switch flips, I'm in trouble. The AFC North is in trouble, and the AFC in general is in trouble. The Bengals are solid. I know that. I'm just pointing out they're not playing great right now. So yes, Shaw, I am confident that they are a good football team. And I'm confident that you pissed me off because you're making me defend the Cincinnati Bengals. Give me a break.
I was huge on Jalen Hurts coming out of Oklahoma. I wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft him. Unfortunately, we did. I forget who we drafted in that draft. Wasn't a quarterback, but I wanted him to be drafted by my Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like the leadership capabilities, and Sirianno, their coach. We can talk about how terrible his opening press conference was, how he's standing there looking like he was scared out of his mind. I got to give him a ton of credit, man. He switched up his entire offense to run the Oklahoma offense halfway through last year, and they made the playoffs. They backdoored their way into the playoffs, but nonetheless, they made the playoffs, and they're running that same offense. And then their front office said, you know what, we're going to go out there and get A.J. Brown. And now they got more weapons on the outside, and they're running that college scheme that Jalen Hurts ran to perfection when he was at Oklahoma. You got to think back when he was at Alabama. Nobody in their right mind thought Jalen Hurts that played at Alabama was going to be an NFL quarterback. He goes to Oklahoma, learns under Lincoln Riley.
Heisman candidate, gets drafted in the second round. Boom. Now he's a starter in the NFL. Team is 5-0. I got to give him a ton of credit. So Shaw, his wisdom again.
Let's hear it.
I need the the hater mic last year. I think I just might change it to the Shaw mic. I just
name it after him.
It's the Shaw mic. I need to get. Where's Hooper? I don't have a Hooper. I need Hooper to bring me the Shaw mic. I wish I had. I'm getting the Shaw mic.
Oh God,
my goodness! But he says every year is different. You have said many times Burrow isn't playing well. It's not out of the realm to believe this is who they are. What are you talking about? Yes, I have said that Burrow isn't playing well. He's not playing well, but he's not a bad quarterback. You can't decipher that. You can't see the difference in that. There are guys and teams who are really good that just don't play well. They go through a little funk, and that's exactly what the Bengals are going through right now. You're making me defend them. Every year is different. This is coming from the guy, Kev, that keeps saying, Ohio State, we beat Ohio State last year, so we're beating them this year. Well, Shaw, this isn't last year.
Every year's different.
Every year's different, Shaw. You ever thought about that? And then he goes, I pissed you off because I asked a freaking question. Bleep you.
Oh. Wow.
Wow is right.
Rare form.
Man, Shaw, you got hugged enough as a kid. My goodness. So angry. Why so serious? Hey, you want to win $2,000? If your name is Shaw, you can't win. If your name is David Shaw, you're not allowed to win this. But if you want a chance to win $2,000, Kev is throwing the money. Real $100 bills. Just look at him. Kevin's never been cooler than what he is right now.
Getting some practice. I got a trip to Vegas coming up.
All right, so head to wingam.com and enter the word approve. APPROVE. Enter the winning word approve at wingam.com for your chance to win $2,000. APPROVE. Enter that winning word at wingam.com for your chance to win $2,000 of Kinner's Cash. That's right. Every hour we're giving out a winning word. You enter that winning word at wingam.com. And every day for the next couple of weeks, I'll be giving out $2,000 of my cash. Kinner's Cash. Head to wingam.com. Hour 2 next. Shaw, give me a break.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer lasting scent.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after a mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries. We also have battery solutions for many hybrid and electric vehicles. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, Buckeye fans, as the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for two to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
The Western Ohio Homebuilders Association invites you to the Fall Parade of Homes, Saturday and Sunday, October 15th and 16th, from noon to 4 p.m. each day. Presented by Minster Bank, this free event will feature 10 beautifully designed homes for you to tour in Miami, Shelby, and Darke County. Visit our website to see 5 additional virtual home tours. Whether you're in the market to build your dream home or remodel the home you already love, you are sure to find it at the Fall Parade of Homes. Visit us at poh.westernohiohba.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. If you missed the winning word for the Kinner's Cash contest, the winning word was approve. Enter approve at wingam.com. We'll have another opportunity for you to win $2,000 coming up here just around the corner. College football. We move over to college football, of course, and we'll take your calls, by the way, at 518-1410, 518-1410. Shaw's still being emotional. He's caught up in his emotions from yesterday. He's still upset that he was wrong and got proven wrong and embarrassed in front of all these people. I'm just saying, he'll get over it. He'll get over it. And by the way, he started out the show, Kev, asking just how you were doing.
I'm good.
Good
Thanks
afternoon, Kev. Hope you are having a good day.
I am. I am. Guardians play at 7:37 tonight.
I'm having a good day too, Shaw. You didn't ask, but I'm just letting you know because I know you were worried. So there it is. Let me see. William Yelly says, I bet Shaw's excited for the new NCAA football game so we can finally watch the Wolverines win a national championship. Oh, shoot. Okay. To recap, by the way, this all started. So Kevin and I were discussing there are a lot of teams who have winning records right now that, like, for instance, the Packers surprised the hell out of me that they're a 500 team because you watch them. That's not a 500 team. They're not I don't think the Packers are a very good football team. They're solid considering they play in the NFC and it's not very deep over there, although the NFC East is propping up the NFC right now, but I think it'll all kind of even out eventually. I think there's a lot of good teams. I think the AFC is still better. The NFC is just playing better right now, Kev. I think that's really what it comes down to. So we talked about the teams with winning records that we don't think they're as good as what their record reflects, and the teams that have losing records that I don't think are as bad as their record reflects. We both agreed the Giants, they're 4-1. I don't think that, like, Eagles are 5-0. I think there's more people, obviously, and I know there is, that are buying into them more. No one, I don't think anyone's sold on the Giants. 4-1. Look out. They're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't think anyone's on board with that. More people are on the Philly bandwagon than the Giants, and I think Philly's more for real than the Giants. I just don't know what for real means with the Eagles this second. But like I said, I just need to see a little more. That's not hating. It just is what it is. So the team that I said that has a losing record that is better than what the record shows, to me, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, I'm the Bengals hater. I get that. So I finally compliment the Bengals, and I still have to have someone argue with me. Still have to have Shaw come at me. So I think that the Bengals are a good football team that's just not playing good football right now. Is that possible, Kev? Like we see
Absolutely.
in basketball. In basketball, you just get, in baseball, look at the Yankees. The Yankees are one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. The Yankees went about a 2-week stretch where they didn't win a baseball game, and everyone thought, man, they're going to screw around and miss the playoffs because that's how cold they were just not even a month and a half ago. That's a good baseball team that wasn't playing good baseball.
I hope they don't play good baseball anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm sure. But, I think some of you understand where I'm going from. In basketball, we see it all the time. We see good basketball teams lose a few games here and there, not that because they're bad, but they're just not playing well at that time. And that's what we're seeing right now with the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a good football team, that same team that just went to the Super Bowl a year ago. They upgraded at tight end, and they upgraded their offensive line. You're not going to tell me that they're not a good football team. I'm just telling you they're not playing well right now. I'm pointing out their deficiencies with how they're playing right now. Still a good football team. Shaw, are we sure that they're a good football team? You mean the offense that just went to the Super Bowl a year ago? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's a good offense. I'm pretty sure of it. So it is what it is. All right. College football it is. Sorry, Shaw, another topic you know nothing about. I got to just leave him alone. He's under my skin today. He wins. Be a bigger person. I can't. I'm a child. It is what it is. 518-1410. Kev, who we got?
We got Doug, line 1.
What up, Doug? How are you, sir?
What's up, fellas?
I like the energy in your voice right off the bat, first of all, Doug, so I appreciate that. What do you got for us today?
I'm calling the Bastion Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, yeah. What happened, though, Mr. Doug? Because I thought you called in last week. You were like, oh, no, they ain't going to do squat. Well, they're 5-0.
Well, no, okay, here's the thing about it. I'm a realist, and Philly and Dallas, they're the same. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, but the Cowboys' defense is looking great. But we haven't played anybody that's good. Now, everybody say Cincinnati good and the Rams are good. Well, they're playing awful. And they're not playing awful because Dallas was that great. They're playing awful against a lot of teams. The Rams look really bad a lot of times this year. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, that offensive line is just, it's horrible. Yeah, I mean, yes.
And the only good team that we played, and they're not looking that great, is Tampa Bay. And they moved that wheel on Dallas. Stayed in our territory, but they was getting field goals instead of touchdowns. And I think that was maybe because Brady wasn't sharp. But so my thing is, this is exactly what we did last year, but we did it better. All the teams that were horrible, like the ones we played, we beat the crap out of. And all the good teams we lost to. Same thing with Philly. Philly beat all the bad teams. What Philly is doing is playing their schedule in reverse. Except for, I agree with Kevin this year, it just seems like it's all bad teams. So are you going to think they're great? Last year, they played, I think they played Atlanta and they beat the crap out of them. Then they played like 5 good teams in a row, lost to all of them. Then they went to a real soft part of their schedule and they got back in it where everybody started talking about, they might beat Dallas, but they played Detroit, Chicago, Carolina. They played all those teams and they beat them soundly. They give up. They said that they had a good defense last year. And their defense is the same this year as it was last year. Last year, their defense was horrible. So I'm talking about what happened that their defense is so great. It's not great. They're just playing the same team that they looked dominant against last year. Now, they get to play us, and we don't have a high-powered offense with Cooper. We're efficient.
So let me ask you this, Doug. What do they have to do to make you a believer?
Well, I need them to beat a good team. And I agree with you, Kev. I mean, now I want you to tell me, you ran through that schedule, and you tell me what team that can put together a 500 record couldn't beat all those teams that they're about to play. I mean, you got all bottom feeders. You got Detroit. You got Jacksonville. You got Washington.
But Doug, this isn't college football where you make your own schedule. They get the schedule from the league, though.
Right. You only have to beat who's in front of you, and I don't have no argument about that. They're beating who's in front of you. But do you really think that they would be able to beat like Kansas City or or Buffalo or somebody like that. No, they're not. They're not near. I guess my point is they're doing the exact same thing they did last year. It's just in reverse.
But if they didn't do it, wouldn't that be a bigger problem?
Yeah, because there's good teams right now. Doug, there's good teams right now. Like, for instance, the Bengals. The Bengals haven't played good teams, and they're struggling against them. Like, good teams beat bad teams. The Bengals aren't playing well right now, and they're losing to bad teams. The Ravens are not necessarily a bad team, but they, obviously lost to a couple bad teams to start. So I think that, and look, I'm not sold on the Eagles yet to be a Super Bowl contender, but I'm convinced that they are a very good football team still.
Okay, so Dallas got a backup quarterback. So if they lose to Dallas, this is what I think. Dallas is going to beat them with Cooper Rush, but they would kill them with Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott Dak Prescott was horrible in week 1 before he got injured.
He was, but guess what? How many teams were horrible week 1? That Aaron Rodgers was horrible. Brady wasn't good. A lot of, these teams that he's beaten now, we beat them by 20 and 30 points last year.
Yeah, I think you're like oversimplifying just you beat a good team, it doesn't count. You beat a bad team, or if you beat a bad team, it doesn't count. It only counts if you beat. This isn't college football where style points matter. Like, this is just wins and losses, and the teams that have good coaching, that are strong on special teams, offense and defense, are well rounded. They're 4-1. They're 5-0. There's good football teams right now. I don't think the Eagles are Super Bowl contender as of right now. I need to see a little more, but I still think they're in good shape. I think they're a very good football team. I think Dallas is winning because of their defense, but I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. I'm not a Dak guy. I think the Cowboys screwed up when they paid Dak, in my opinion, but we'll see. But it seems to be a system you can win in.
You don't see the difference in our offense with Cooper Rush and with Dak.
Yeah, when you have a more talented player, you try more things. Like, they're keeping it very close to the vest with Cooper Rush. You're not going to do those same things with Dak Prescott.
So you think that's the reason that he's not scoring a lot of points? Because we're keeping it close to the vest?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You ain't watching Dallas like I do. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, we can score. On these teams that we're playing last year, we were scoring 40-something. We was the highest team scoring in the league because we beat up on bottom feeders, and we beat them bad and convincingly.
So that makes you good because you beat up bad teams, but the Eagles are bad because they beat bad teams?
No, it don't make us good. That's my point. My point is Philly did the same. Philly looks like the same team as they did last year to me.
But, Doug, it's something that we all have to realize, man. This is the NFL, and it's set up for basically everybody to be almost the same. Like, that's why everybody currently we're looking at, there's a ton of teams that are 2-3 and 3-2. Everybody's basically equal. There's some real bad teams like the Steelers and the Bears, but most of the teams in the NFL have 3 losses. Like, so we can't get to a point where we look at somebody's schedule and look at their wins and losses and say, oh, they ain't play nobody, because everybody plays everybody in the NFL.
Okay, you are 100% right about that. But what I'm trying to say is what I see Philly doing is really the same thing they did last year. They were 9-0 bad teams, and they were 0-8 against good teams. Now, the teams that made the playoffs, they got creamed. And their defense is the same defense that gave us.
So basically, if they don't win the Super Bowl, they were a fluke.
Nope. No.
So what do they have to do for them to be legit in your eyes? Outside beat a good team, because the teams that you mentioned that are good teams, Kansas City and the Buffalo Bills, aren't on their schedule, and the only way they would face them would be in the Super Bowl. So what does Philadelphia have to do in your eyes for you to say, okay, they're legit?
If they beat 2 good teams.
But I already see what you did, Doug. I know what you did. It was very smart what you did a little bit ago. You talked about the Dallas Cowboys, who's 4-1. Philly, you already laid the groundwork for if they beat the Cowboys. You said, well, they're not very good offensively. So, like, you've already laid the groundwork for if they beat the Cowboys, you're going to say, well, the Cowboys aren't really that good.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
So if they beat the Cowboys, that'd be a good win, right?
Yeah, that'd be a good win. This is what I'm going to say about the Cowboy game. If we'll beat them, but we won't beat them by 20 or 30 like we've been doing. We'll still beat them by 3 to 10 points. So if we beat them by 3 to 10 points, to me, they're the same team as they were last year. Ain't going to beat no good team. Ain't going to beat up on bad teams.
We'll find out, Doug. We got a long. Okay. Doug, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, y'all take it easy.
Later.
All right.
Man, those fly, Eagles, fly. I have to let him.
Right.
He needs to call on the Byers show one time.
Oh, yeah, that'll be good.
I was going to say, that's Byers' fight. I'm not getting into that. I don't know. It's hard to do that in the NFL. I'm concerned when you lose to bad teams. If you're beating bad teams and you're 5-0 because you beat 5 bad teams, and that's a good thing. I'm watching my team lose to bad teams. Chargers aren't a bad team, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is what it is. The Bengals fans, you guys know what I'm saying. Like, your team has lost to bad teams. Those are the pills that are hard to swallow.
So so that's like kind of my question for people that say, we win any good games or beat any good teams. Who's a good team? Because if we're only going to say that the Chiefs and the Bills are good teams, then nobody's good.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're playing Washington and you're playing Atlanta and you're playing the Jets and you're playing, now I know the Jets are starting to look better, but they also just got their starting quarterback back and they have like difference since getting him back. I think that matters as well. But like,
is Minnesota a good team?
They're 4-1. Yeah, they're football. I mean, they have a lead offense. I know you don't want to say that.
They're winning, and I said that they were going to win the NFC Central, or North. I only go back to the 80s or 90s with that. But yeah, I think that they're a good football team. Like, and especially you just got to look at in the NFL, you can simply look at record. You can't do that in college football. You can't say, well, shoot, they're 10-0. That means they're a great football team. They're the best. But in NFL, I think it's pretty easy that you look at their record and say, like, okay, they're a good football team. Yeah, you can look against who they play, but shoot, I will be far more alarmed if you had a losing record or if Philly was 1-4. I wouldn't be saying like, all right, man, they're good, because their record would say the opposite. Like, nobody's out here saying that the Rams are playing good football.
But like, so to use the Dolphins as an example, if Tua doesn't go down against the Bengals, I believe they beat the Bengals, and that means they would have beaten Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow in 3 straight weeks.
Right.
Like, so they would have been 4-0 after that Week 4 game against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Then everyone would be like, all right, he just beat Josh. I mean, it was already impressive that they beat Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in back-to-back games. On top of that, the Eagles, you beat the Lions, the Vikings. That's a good win, but you beat the Lions, the Commanders, the Jaguars, and the Cardinals.
Right.
For average to bad teams, there's no good teams in there. The Vikings are a good football team, obviously, but like, again, the sample size is too small. But I do believe the records don't always tell the story, because it's a lot easier to be 5-0 playing that than 5-0 playing what the Dolphins did to start.
Right.
But again, we're splitting hairs a little too much. This is a conversation to have at the end of the season,
at least,
not so much 5 weeks in.
So yeah, you're right. So like about 10 weeks into the season,
9 weeks. I said week eight, and 9 and stuff, but 10 is
fair,
especially with 17 weeks to go. And again, because I keep using the Cardinals as that talking point, the Cardinals last year, 8-0, Super Bowl favorites, MVP candidate Kyler Murray, right? Like, Kingsbury was about to be the coach of the year. Kingsbury almost got fired. They didn't want to give their quarterback an extension. They put a homework clause in his contract extension. Like, that all happened after the 8-0 start last year. So I don't care about the first half of the season as far as that's concerned.
Wheels came off of that train.
Mark Smith says, or the issues like Cincy has right now. Yeah, you better hope so. I mean, Joe Burrow's good. It's not elite, but he's not playing good right now. But he'll be better. As I said earlier, the Bengals, that's a good team that's playing bad. Then there's bad teams, like, in my opinion, the Steelers. That's a bad team. That's not a good team playing poorly. That's just a bad football team right now. The Bengals are a good team playing poorly. The Browns are a solid team they have chances to win because of their strengths, but they're losing because of their deficiencies. The 3 different examples right there. A bad team, a solid team that's winning games because of their strengths, but losing games because of their deficiencies. And then there's the Bengals, that's just a very good team, not playing good football right now. I think. I don't know. I got to ask Shaw. I got to get his
He'll let you know.
I got to get it. 518-1410. I see phone lines coming in, or calls coming in here. Coming up around the corner, we'll talk some college football. If the college football playoff poll came out tonight, who would be the top 6 teams? Who would be the 4 in, and who would be the 2 just on the outside looking in? I am curious about that as far as that's concerned. So we'll get to that around the corner. Is this the one and only?
It's Dickie.
All right. What up, Dickie?
Hey.
Oh, wow. That
Justin.
is the most depressed I've heard you start a conversation. Are you all right?
No.
Uh-oh.
They have to do something to the defensive coordinator of the Browns. Bissett, don't throw the ball. Use Nick Chubb. I'm disgusted. They got to come out of this, Kevin.
The defense struggles a lot. There's missed tackles. There's blown coverages. There's a ton going wrong with the Cleveland Browns, defensive coordinator included. But I'm a guy that believes that the players need to make plays. Like, you look at Myles Garrett, you look at Denzel Ward, both of them got big contracts, and neither of them are playing to their potential. And the bullseye for me goes on Myles Garrett because he's stated that he wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. Well, if you want to be Defensive Player of the Year, you have to play like Defensive Player of the Year. There has to be an argument for you to be that. Now, it's early in the season. He could flip the switch and go Hellraiser and just start tackling everything that comes his way, forcing fumbles. But as of right now, he's not.
Yeah, can I ask something to Justin?
Go for it.
I'm right here.
Justin.
What up?
Should we worry, or do you think they'll come out of this?
I'd worry about the defense. I don't think the defense is going to get
No.
drastically better. The offense, I think the offense is fine. It's a top 5 offense in the NFL right now with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think when Deshaun comes back, I thought he was a top 5 quarterback when he was in the NFL last.
Yeah.
I don't think he's top 5 right now, but all he has to do is just be close to the top 10, and that's already a drastic improvement over Jacoby Brissett, and the Browns will be just fine. They got to win games because of their offense, because they definitely can't do it depending on their defense like a lot of teams are doing right now.
But I think the schedule, really, I'll tell you the truth, on the 31st, I think the Browns will beat the Bengals. I really do.
Dickie, I could not agree with you more.
And you know what else, though? Another thing.
They're going to beat them twice this year, right?
Well, I hope, but can they come out of this against the Patriots?
I would have, if a week ago, I'd have answered that a lot more confidently. I don't know what the hell they just did against the Lions. I have no clue what just happened. The Lions, the highest scoring team in football, gets blanked by the Patriots, whose defense isn't the best, but it's not the worst. And then that offense with a third-string quarterback puts up like 20-something points. I don't know. The Lions tick me off because I was confident in that matchup a week ago. Now I'm like, it's Bill Belichick. I don't know. What about you?
Well, I can remember, a lot of people ranting about it, Cleveland, but I think optimistically, you were right. You're right, Kevin and Justin. I'm just saying, I mean, the running game is good. Bissett can throw the ball, but when you got a runner like Chubb, he reminds me of Leroy Kelly. If you're on the, say, 30, I'd say run the ball, and then if you're down there, if you're close, run Chubb up the middle. Don't pass the ball.
I get that, but they were trailing late in that game. But it's still Jacoby Brissett. I agree. Put the ball in your best playmaker's hands. That's not Jacoby Brissett. So, Dickie, let's talk about something more positive. How about the Guardians in the playoffs? I've never heard you so mopey in my life, man.
I didn't know. I'm all right. Hey, listen, I really, I've been, my cousin's a fan. I love it. I remember in the 90s when they did so well. I think they can. The Yankees are a thorn in their side, but if they have the pitch, I think they can go all the way. I mean, I'm saying maybe World Series, but if they beat, say, what is it, the best of 3 or best of 2?
5, best of 5. First one of the 3.
Best of 5. Okay, you get a 3-game lead, I think you're good. But they, that's their nemesis. But I'm proud of them this year, like Ohio State. But people were telling me when I know I talked to Ashley last week up at Fox Sports and Tony Grossi, and hey, Devon Cherry, you know what he said? Thanks for the call, Dick. You know everybody.
Well, you know what I'm going to say, Dickie?
What?
Thanks for the call, Dickie. You know everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Jimmy, I enjoyed Ashley and them,
Absolutely. Hey, appreciate the call. Good hearing from you.
Yeah. Go Browns.
I like it. There you go. Go Browns. Go Browns. That's what I like to hear. So there's that. But Ryan Strong says Browns beating the Bengals on Halloween. Laughed my ass off. Michael Myers has a better chance of, Keep in mind, like, why, Ryan, are you doing that? I feel like you're trying to get under my skin.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, man. He saves all the anger for
your team has
Mondays
done
and
nothing
Fridays
this year to make you feel like you should be confident in their ability to beat anybody right now. All I'm saying is again, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Just typical losing Bengals and losing Browns fans just arguing amongst one another. Man, this takes me back to 2019. I've always thought our fan bases are two of the stupidest fan bases in all of football. Browns fans and Bengals fans have always argued about which team stinks more at the bottom of the division. Now, luckily, the Steelers have helped prop us up a little bit. But Ryan, there's not one thing about your team that you should feel confident enough to say that there's no way that the Browns could beat the Bengals, seeing as the Browns beat the better Bengals team last year twice. Maybe you should have kept Jamar Chase in longer last year, but he only played for like a couple snaps so he could cheat his way to a record real quick. Maybe that's why he's playing so bad right now. He's not used to playing against real starters after he cheated his way to that record last year. I was trying to be nice about the Bengals, but there's no way they're going to beat the Browns or Bengals on Halloween.
There goes the show.
We'll be right back. 518-1410.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy, a high near 75. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low near 58. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, a high near 78. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I would recommend QC to anybody. The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain.
It is a all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Learn more about regenerative options from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Hi, I'm Coach Jim Place, and I'm proud to support Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge. I've known Tony and his wife Annie for a long time. Something that makes Tony and the great Annie so special is they are a team. They truly care about the citizens of Montgomery County. They were born here, they're raising their family here, and the citizens of Montgomery County are something they care very deeply about. That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Okay, 3 more climbers, 7 loggers.
Ted's sustainably sourced logging company is growing a new branch.
What about truck driver contracts?
Which means a new HR manager will be the first hire to fall.
Then we'll need to staff up the warehouse.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The new Google Pixel 7 Pro is super, especially when it's on Verizon, the network America relies on. It's supercharged, super powered, and a super...
deal.
You know it. Now, switch to Verizon and get the Google Pixel 7 Pro on us with select trade-ins and select 5G unlimited plans.
That really is super.
Yep. There's never been a better time to switch to Verizon. $899.99 device payment purchase with new smartphone line on select 5G unlimited plans required. $200 Verizon e-gift card with ported. Less $700 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. 0% APR. Trade-in conditions and additional terms apply.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is excited to announce their new delicious spicy bourbon chicken sandwich is here. It's the best of both worlds. Their spicy bourbon dippers that you love brought into a sandwich you'll crave. It's made with their famous spicy chicken sandwich, smothered in their special bourbon barbecue sauce, dripping with flavor on a brioche bun. Enjoy it in a combo with your favorite side and a drink, priced just right at only $6.99 and only available at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken Miami Valley locations. Lee's, famous for spicy bourbon chicken.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. Browse the largest display of hot tubs and swim spas in the region from 5 major brands at up to 50% off. That's this weekend at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds in Dayton. Visit HotTubOH.com or call 800-SPA-SALE.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Make sure your home's heating and cooling system is in shape for the season with the experts and community trusted service that you can rely on from William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. We're offering exclusive savings opportunities on the new Lennox system. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today or visit us online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy!
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. For a limited time, we have 22 Honda Passports and 22 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9% and 2022 Honda Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%. Remember, we can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build new Hondas every day. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We're on Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, The Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
And we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code Kinner, with my promo code Kinner, you'll be able to you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live here in Ohio in January of 2023. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, and super easy to use. Dayton, come on, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with my promo code Kinner, KINNER. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All you have to do is head to wingam.com, download the FanDuel app and use the promo code Kinner. So that way, right off the bat, you have $100 in free bets waiting for you right away when sports betting becomes legal right away in January of 2023. We have a cool sports betting story coming up for you that involves the Cincinnati Reds coming up around the corner. But again, FanDuel, download the app, use promo code Kinner, get $100 in free bets waiting for you for when it goes live starting in January. 518-1410. Let's just get this one over with before we switch here.
The Ron.
What do you want, Ron? What do you want?
Go Browns, right?
Right.
Yeah. I'm telling you what, I'm going to make
everyone's so happy today. Like Ron is just like, I haven't heard him this excited in a while. You sent me some weird creepy message earlier being all Ron.
You know what I said.
I read it. You
and
didn't say it.
I'm going to read it right now.
Sound it out.
The Swami of Justin Kinner of Chris Berman predicted the Carolina Panthers would win the NFC South. How's that looking now? Eat crow.
How's that looking
Come
now?
on, man.
Eat crow.
The savior. Oh my God. Okay, come on. Am I right? That was recorded. You were wrong.
Okay.
Is Kinner right? Is Kinner wrong? Is Kinner right? He is wrong.
You feel better about yourself now? Are you happy? Like, I feel like you're more like if your team doesn't even make the playoffs this year, you're going to be more happy that I got you'll be happier that I got it wrong about the Panthers than you are going to be upset about your team not making the playoffs.
I'm telling you, if you watch my team,
I can't. They're hideous and boring, and I can't stand. Your team cheats. They have a winning record because the whole NFL is protecting your wussy quarterback.
Okay, that's what.
I probably just got a. I just probably got. I just got a penalty right now for talking bad about Mr. Tom Brady. I mean, my goodness, Ron.
No,
the Tampa Bay Divas. My goodness.
Okay, well, I'm not one to argue with you. I just wanted to say, I mean, what's your opinion? Like over the weekend, you had the Brady last night. You had the car and all that crap. You had. I mean, are the calls that cheap or what?
The the NFL's in a weird spot. They're trying to win the optics war, and they're trying to find the middle ground to be able to look. They got so much criticism. This is what the NFL. The only criticism I'll say of this. The NFL, I know that we got to be sensitive about, concussions and head trauma and stuff like that, but there are certain times where the NFL should just come out and say, hey, the Dolphins followed the damn protocol. There's proof that the Dolphins followed the protocol. There's actual proof that the Dolphins did nothing wrong in the handling of Tua Tagovailoa. All of these morons out there want to attack the Dolphins and say how horrible of an organization that they are. And then no one comes out when the proof is that they were in the right and we were on the wrong. Does anyone go out and say, oh, man, my bad, I was wrong about the Dolphins? No. The NFL should stand up for the Dolphins, too. The NFL should come out and say, hey, it's a violent game. There are going to be sometimes there will be hits and things you see that are uncomfortable because it's a violent game. We are doing everything we can to keep our players safe within the confines of what is a dangerous game in football. The NFL drives me nuts because now they're trying to do this whole, man, we really care about our players, so we're going to throw flags every time you even look at a quarterback wrong. The NFL, all they have to do is just tell people to stop being so whiny and just say, hey, we are acknowledging how crucial it is to protect the players, but you're not going to get it to the point to where these guys will never get hurt or will never have a concussion. The Dolphins did everything right after everyone ripped them and the coach needs to be fired. And oh man, there's more going to come of this. The Dolphins did everything right. And now because the NFL is too much of a wuss to come out and say that, hey, the Dolphins were right and we were wrong. Now they're going to penalize anyone that even looks at a quarterback wrong. I'm fired up about that because it's making football harder to watch, along with all the stupid analytic decisions that people are making when it comes to going for it on fourth down in enemy territory. It makes zero sense. In their own territory, I should say.
Yeah,
You asked, I
both
gave you the
games.
answer.
I mean, both games. I mean, I'm even admitting my team. That cost Atlanta the game. I mean, they could have came back and won that game. But in like the Raiders game, I mean, they only lost by one score. So, I mean, gosh, it changes the game.
It changes the game, and I get that too. And those are bad calls, but I always say in football, we always put it on the officials when they don't do their job. But these NFL teams and players, how many mistakes do they make during a game that cost their team the game? But we want to blame the officials that one time you got a call wrong, you're why our team lost. But let's not focus on the fact that two pass catchers ran into one another last night on the final play and that they didn't just run the football to pick up the first down. Like that's on them. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's easy to say, oh, the bad calls of the officials are what lost us the game. But like, you know how many plays you can go back and find wide receivers and offensive linemen and coaching mistakes and all these mistakes that the players make, but they're immune to being held accountable for their mistakes. It has to be the officials. I blame the NFL more than the officials. The officials technically aren't making the wrong calls, Ron. They're making the right calls based on what the bad rules are. That's the problem. That's the problem I have.
And you know what? I mean, the guy didn't really slam Brady. I don't think he did. I think he just tackled. He could have killed him. But
you know what my favorite response was from Tom Brady though, Ron, is when he said, "I don't throw the flags," and that's what he should have said.
I seen that on Facebook. Yeah. Hey, two last responses, Justin.
Ron.
The Kenner curse lives. The Kenner curse lives. You go to Cleveland to watch your first game up there. They lose. Okay. That's going to happen, okay?
It's typical. I mean, they could drive 3 hours just to watch my team win. I mean, and then Ron, everyone around me thought that kick was good. Everyone was cheering and excited, and then just to see everyone at the same time just be defeated all at once. I was probably the only one smiling because I got a good kick out of just the frustration on everyone's face. But unbelievable, typical Browns.
Well.
But you know what, Ron? Your team was a official cheating for Tom Brady away from having the same record as my team.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now.
You got 60 seconds.
Team, I'm going to make a prediction. Your team will go 1-5 in the next games.
They're going to 1-5 in the next 5 games, huh? That's some Ron math.
That's amazing.
Ron, that you never disappoint, man. You never disappoint.
Goodness,
all right, you heard it here first, folks. My team, the Browns, according to Ron, is going to go. They're going to win one of their what? So he said one of the next. He said win one in their next 5, or what did he say?
It was a Ron.
It was a Ron comment.
It was a Ron.
Him and Shaw hang out.
Man, my thing about these penalties is.
Yes, I'm glad. Yeah.
Whoo. I'll talk about that later. I'm more concerned about this. I'm concerned about the going for it stuff. I'm
far more concerned about that than these bad penalties, because like you change the game of football when you do stupid stuff like this. And it's not just Josh McDaniels. It's not just the coach from the Chargers. Andy Reid did it too last night. I'm watching the game and I'm losing my mind about them. Now, that one wasn't as bad because you would have went up 9 as opposed to 7, because you're thinking like, okay, they scored, just be a tie. If you just go for 2 and get it, you'll still be up if the Raiders go down there and score. Really didn't have the biggest problem with it in the world, but okay, I can understand it. But I, for the life of me, don't understand the point of going for 2 when you're just scored a touchdown. So it's 30-29. And you try to go for 2 with 4 minutes left in the game. It's 4 minutes left in the game. Like, what's the point of that? Because now you do get to stop. You got to stop. So instead of the score being tied and you going for a potential game-winning field goal with it tied and things don't go your way, you can go to overtime. But now you lose because you didn't kick the extra point. I just don't get it. These coaches think they're the smartest thing since sliced bread. And yes, Josh McDaniels, he knows more about football than me and you. But guess what? Me and Josh McDaniels are the same age. So we've been watching the same amount of football. That's dumb. It's just dumb. And I don't care what little analytics and what the card says. It's wrong. It is wrong. And I want those teams that continue to do crazy stuff, basically video game stuff, I want them to lose. I want them to lose so much that these coaches stop doing it. Yes, I understand going for it on, 4th and 3 at your own 48 because it's too far for a field goal unless you got Justin Tucker and too short for a punt. I'm with all that. I'm with going for 2 here and there. If I felt like going for it in my gut. Going for it right there was dumb.
No, absolutely. And the thing is if people keep saying, man, how do the Kansas City Chiefs just continue to be the Chiefs?
A good point.
While losing Tyreek Hill, well, you could think Nathaniel Hackett, you could think, obviously, UD's own Coach Staley, and then you could obviously think Coach McDaniels, because there are 4 really good rosters in that division. That's why that division was supposed to be the best division in football. But coaching, and it is, by the way, those are 4 really. That's the best collection of talent in one division of any other division in football. The AFC North is right there with them. But I think that the coaching is what is the coaching's holding the Bengals back. Coaching's holding the coordinators holding the Browns back. The Ravens coach makes decisions that kind of cost them games at times. But I think that the AFC South over there, I mean, that division, Kev, it's 3 of the worst coaches in football as far as decision making is concerned.
Crazy.
The Raiders make bad decisions. The Chargers, they should not have won on Sunday, but the Browns them. And it is what it is. But Jerry, the Raiders fan, gentlemen, I've noticed that he's the Steve from Springboro. He's the Raiders version of that.
What I want to hear from these coaches is, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And how do we get to this
Is this
point?
like baseball where they're not technically doing anything wrong?
It's going to get to that point.
If it's not there already. These teams are investing money into these analytics. So this is what I've always said about baseball. If I think David Bell's a bad manager because he keeps using analytics, the analytics that the team spent millions on to invest into to get them this information, it's kind of like us in radio. Our company spends a lot of money on a lot of resources for us to use to do our job. And if we don't use those resources, we get in trouble. But if we use those resources and still don't get the end result that we want, how could our company get mad at us? We're doing what you told us to. We're using the equipment you told us to. We're using the resources you told us to use. You can't be mad at me if we're not achieving our goal because I am doing what you told me to with the equipment and the resources that you told me to. Well, that's the Reds, for an example. They spent millions of dollars on all of these on the analytics and the way to go about obtaining these and to implement them into their game plans. And then David Bell goes and he uses these models to make lineups, to make pitching decisions, to build rotations and lineups.
Right.
Then when they lose, because the analytics told him to build this roster, to use these pitchers at this time, to take guys out the 3rd time through the order, when analytics forces you to make those decisions that the organization invested millions into, how can you get mad at David Bell? How can you fire David Bell? David Bell is actually being what we should all be as employees, and that is a good employee. Yes, sir. I don't agree with you, sir, boss. But I'm going to do what you tell me to because you're my boss. So David Bell, we are mad at him, but he's doing exactly what he is told to do. So the same thing with Staley and the Chargers. How he won't be fired, Kev, or if he is, like, here's the problem I have with it, because I can't stand the use of analytics to justify going for it on fourth down at these crucial moments in high leverage spots of these ball games. But if I'm Staley and the Chargers want to fire him because, we're not winning games, hold on, sir. I agree that we're not winning football games, but we're losing football games because I'm implementing the analytics that you are forcing me to use. So you're firing me for making the decisions based off the resources you gave me. How is that fair? By the way, I'm not defending these coaches. I'm just saying this is that weird backwards mentality of football, or that football's now dipping their toe into. I hate baseball for that very reason.
Right.
We hate it. It's not aesthetically pleasing to us. It pushes us away. The NFL is going to take a lot of that before it pushes us away. But look how angry we get.
Right.
Because it doesn't make sense. I couldn't believe that the Chargers went for it on 4th and 2 in their territory when the Browns only needed 3 points to win the football game. Like, holy smokes, the Browns have a backup quarterback who has not proven all year that he could lead a game-winning drive, and you went for it and got bailed out because he threw an interception. And then they missed the kick. But the analytics, Kev, he did nothing wrong.
That's why I'm going to push back. I don't believe it. I just don't. I don't believe.
No, the Browns missed it. I was there. I saw it. They're 2-3, Kev.
I don't believe that a sheet of paper told this man to go for it on 4th and 2 from that spot. I don't believe it. I believe that these coaches are using the term analytics to allow them to do stupid stuff. Well, yeah, analytics said do it. Who is analytics?
Well,
what computer told you to do that? What person in their right mind would tell you not to punt the ball back to the Cleveland Browns with 40-something seconds on the clock with 0 timeouts? Nobody's going to do that. That is insanity. And I want every coach out there doing these crazy things to lose. Analytics is a tool. It is a tool. It's not the end-all, be-all. At some point, we're going to get that coach that plays in coaches like at the D2 or D3 level that onside kicks every time and goes for 2 every time. At some point, we're going to hire him, and that's what teams are going to be doing. And they're going to lose a ton of games.
But before analytics was a thing in football, your team's responsible for it. Your team was all about going for it on 4th down, or going for the 2-point conversion.
Yes.
Because the analytics showed they don't do that as much anymore.
No, Tomlin never used the term analytics. He said, I felt like going for it.
I'm Mike Tomlin, and I know what I'm doing. I never have a losing season. I'm Mike Tomlin.
I'm Mike Tomlin. I got Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown.
Confidence,
and yeah. You notice they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, why not?
Because, they stink. So that's my problem with analytics, especially in football. We use an analytic or whatever term we want to use, and we try to use it as a blanket statement. Every team is not constructed the exact same way. It's just not. So you mean to tell me that if you got, I don't know, name a terrible quarterback. There's a lot of them. You got Mitchell Trubisky, and it's 4th and 2 from your own 45-yard line. The analytics say go for it. You should go for it. No, you shouldn't. You should never do it. And you sure shouldn't do it with Mitchell Trubisky at the quarterback spot. So analytics should play into what you have on your roster and what you have for your team, and kind of like a la baseball, gut feeling from the manager or coach, like, yo, I feel like this play will work. We've been setting this up all game, yada, yada, yada. This is maddening to me. It drives me crazy. It drove me so crazy that I wasn't even mad about the bogus roughing the passer call, like, because that trumped it so much. It's like, come on, man. Like, this is crazy.
So win probability based on decisions is 1. So how about Seth Walder? Lance McAllister, 700 WLW. He posted this on his Facebook page the other day. He was kind of going back and forth with Bengals fans as well, because people were mad that, why wouldn't you kick it? Why would you go for it there? And in Lance McAllister's defense, I agreed with him when he said, he goes, are we with the team that has Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow? are we really going to be, we would be, and this is the point I tried making yesterday. Fans, you would be furious with all that firepower if you just settled for field goals the whole time instead of being aggressive. I remember that Niners game that they lost last year. People were, remember that, Kev?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't even think of that till right now. They lost to the Niners because they kicked the field goal instead of letting Joe Burrow go for it on 4th down because they have all those weapons. Why? And then look, they made the field goal. But, if they go for it and don't convert, then people get pissed off. Why would you go for it and not kick the field goal? So the win probability this past Sunday when they lost to the Ravens, okay, when they went for it on the 4th and goal from the 2, the win probability if they went for it was 54%. The win probability if they kicked it was 47%. So they went for it. And people are mad, why would you not kick it? Because then if you go for it and don't convert, then people lose their dang minds like what happened, right? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Like we talked about yesterday, I didn't have a problem with the Bengals going for it right there. What I had a problem with was the what's the play called? The throwback pass to the quarterback.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
Like that was my issue with it. I really didn't have a problem with them going for it right there. If I'm gonna throw the ball, I'm gonna throw it with my quarterback. That's all.
So there's that. But yes, you sound like a baseball fan now. No, and you're right. Like that was my biggest argument about analytics in baseball. One set of rules, a blanket set of rules for everyone. A blanket's manual for everyone to play the game by. And every team should have its own manual based on the strengths and weaknesses of your team. That's why I'm not a big fan of it. Well, across Major League Baseball, teams are 4 times more likely to win a game if they don't let their starting pitcher go through the 3rd time through the order. Yeah, but your pitcher has a no-hitter and has not been touched all night, and it shows no signs of wearing down. But hey, you're going to play the numbers game and say, well, the numbers show. That's what I hate.
Forget about all that. Think about it like you just said. If a pitcher has a no-no going into the 6th inning and you pull him, I think that happened last season. Well, what about him trying to get a no-hitter? Like, these are records that people want to, and accomplishments that these pitchers, and not only the pitcher, the catcher is involved in this record, the outfielder is involved with this record. Like, they want to see this happen. Fans want to see this happen. Fans want to, so say if a pitcher's up there dealing a ton of strikeouts and everything like that, and like, oh man, he's on pace to break the record for strikeouts in the game. He's pulled in the 6th inning. What? When's the next time he's going to have that ability or chance to make that happen for himself and the team? Let him go. It's fine. They'll be perfectly fine. They'll be fine.
And traditionally, your starting pitchers are the best pitchers in baseball. They're better than your bullpen pitchers. Right. And you're trying to convince me that the numbers are justifiable in going to a less talented pitcher than your starting pitcher. I can't get on board with that.
Dude, I remember as a kid watching Nolan Ryan pitch into the 9th inning. All right, yeah, that's it. Like, then can't remember the last time I seen a starting pitcher go into the 9th inning.
Doesn't happen.
And now they're trying to push this. Oh, yeah, it was a team shutout or a team no-hitter. What? No, a no-hitter goes to one dude.
William Yelly says, I hate analytics with every bone in my body. And I agree. And so for instance, okay, the numbers show that it's a very high % chance that you're going to convert on 4th down. But you also, what about where you're at on the field, the situation of the game, the ranking of analytics kind of count for all of the different factors that are involved. Like you could say, well, the % of teams who convert on 4th down from the 35, from their own 35 is pretty high. So you have a very good chance. That's based on what? The collective of defenses. What about the Browns defense? Well, the Browns defense, they may have still felt confident to do that on. I get that. But at the same time, if you don't convert on the 45% chance that you don't convert, those are still too high of odds to put the ball back in the hands of a team that actually had a kicker that Cade York has proven he can hit clutch, long-distance, game-winning field goals. He hasn't proven he can't even make a damn extra point half the time. But that's not the point. Yeah, it's frustrating. I think using analytics is a cop-out.
Yeah.
Just play the football the way it's been played. It's the most perfect sport out there. And why are we changing it? I said that about baseball. Oh, we're smarter fans. That's why we, like analytics. No, you're supporting a bad product. The NFL, it's a long way before it's a bad product, but we watch bad football because of bad coaching decisions. But the analytics say they made the right choice. It's not right. 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to jump in on the conversation. We'll be right back.
Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
2000, 2008, 2022. When it comes to the economy, those are some scary years. .com crash, housing crash, and the roller coaster we're going through right now. It's a dangerous time to not know your numbers. But over 31,000 businesses have the confidence and clarity they need because they rely on NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of financials, inventory, HR, planning, and budgeting. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, improve margins. Everything you need all in one place. So, how do you prepare for uncertain times? The answer, NetSuite. NetSuite helps you identify rising costs, automate your business processes, and easily see where to save money. That's why 93% of customers say they improved their visibility and control when they upgraded to NetSuite. What are you waiting for? NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/radar. netsuite.com/radar.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Biana's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you're looking to obtain a quality education at a low price, look no further than Clark State. With over 160 degrees and certificates available, Clark State has a path for you to reach your goals. Our tuition rates are one of the lowest in Ohio, so getting that degree is easier than ever without breaking the bank. For more information about Clark State, visit us at www.clarkstate.edu.
Voting can change our world. It can shape my neighborhood. Voting is about our future. Voting matters. But I can't vote. Nope, neither can I. I'm too young. Same. So to all the grown-ups, it's up to you. Our future depends on it. Register to vote. Get registered. We need you.
Visit voteohio.gov to register online for the November 8th election. Sponsored by Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose, aired by the OAB and this station.
How did hiring the right person become so difficult? Well, it doesn't have to be. Alpha Digital already has targeted databases built to very qualified candidates that are just looking for the right opportunity. That allows you to target exactly who you're trying to reach with a budget that is customized just for you. Learn about all the possibilities by going to alphamediadigital.com today. Find your next star employee with alphamediadigital.com.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
It's time for Frickin' Football. Frickers has a way to make this the winning season. Try a Frickin' Chicken Taco, Grilled Chicken Taco, or Mississippi Barbecue Taco for a limited time. Enjoy a 48-ounce personal pitcher of domestic draft beer. I like this kind of party. I like this kind of party, baby. All the games of college and the NFL at the place that leads the way with inflation-busting prices, everyday values, and where kids eat free. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Dave Yost for Ohio. Dave Yost for America. Stand strong in the land of the free. Dave Yost for you and me.
Yo, yo.
As our Attorney General,
Dave Yost is keeping us safe.
he's protecting religious freedom, and he's fighting to lower healthcare costs. Yo, Dave Yost. Paid for by Dave Yost for Ohio.
For you and me.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
And we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash will be here on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoff rankings. They don't come out for another month, or I should say under a month. About 3 weeks from now, the very first college football playoff rankings come out. Ohio State has a bye this week, and then, of course, they'll come out against Iowa. That's a noon kick, finally, a noon kick. And then they'll have Penn State coming up around the corner as well. They just came off that thrashing of Michigan State last week. I mean, it was no dominating win like Michigan had over Indiana, but I think it was still, a respectable win.
Solid.
Right? Solid. Wasn't dominating. 21-point win after being tied at half against Indiana. That's dominating. But I'm going for the Spartans here in a few weeks, big time. I know I want Ohio State, Michigan to be undefeated, but I can't wait. Mel Tucker is going to totally redeem himself when they beat that team. All right, so the first college football playoff rankings come out here on November 2nd, I believe, on a Tuesday night. And I got to thinking right now, like, before we've seen a lot of the meat and potatoes of these teams really go head-to-head against one another, if the college football playoff rankings came out tonight, Kev, keep in mind, the AP poll is a lot different than the college football playoff. I think only once in the history of the college football playoff rankings has the AP and the college football playoff rankings reflected the same top four, right?
Right.
So the top four as of right now, Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Alabama 3, Clemson 4, Michigan 5, Tennessee 6, with USC coming in at number 7. So it's only happened once that the college football playoff poll and the AP poll and the very first reveal of the playoff has reflected the same top four. Will that be the case here in a few weeks? If the college football playoff came out, the ranking came out tonight, Kev, would the top four in the college football playoff rankings reflect the same top four in the same order as the AP?
Same teams, not same order.
Okay.
Same teams, not same order. I think that they'll have... Goodness, this is so tough. Because you try to get inside the mind of what they think is important. But for my money, Clemson has the best resume. They have 2 wins over ranked teams. They have a win over number 14, Wake Forest, and a win over number 15, NC State. Everybody's going to say, Wake Forest sucks. Look, man, they both collectively have lost one game, and they lost that game to Clemson. And they've beaten all their other opponents. And then you look at Georgia, who single-handedly has the best win over Oregon, who's ranked number 12, and they blew the doors off of Oregon. And then you have Ohio State, who's playing the best football right now, but their best win is versus Notre Dame, who's 3-2 now, not blowing anybody away, but they got a good victory this past weekend versus BYU. And then you have Alabama, and then you throw in the Bama factor. So for me, I'm going to just go strictly by resume-wise.
Now's resume.
Yeah, I will have Clemson number 1.
Okay. So that's interesting. So I'm not against that. Here's where – so who would be your 5 and 6? Who would be the two teams
5
just
and
on the
6,
outside looking in?
5 and 6, Michigan at 5, Tennessee at 6, and Tennessee has the opportunity of all opportunities this upcoming weekend as they face Alabama. They win that game, they are jumping to number 2, just based off a resume. So
based off a resume, they have 3 top 25 wins.
Yeah.
I don't know how you put Michigan ahead of them. It don't matter. We're splitting hairs with that. But,
I don't want Shaw getting mad at me like he's always mad at you.
So, well, Shaw, who knows all, he has Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4, USC 5, Michigan 6. That's his, playoff 4 and the 2 on the outside just looking in. He says I'm a tool. Okay, thanks for that. Anyways, back to the conversation. I've been back and forth on this too because you're right. It's hard to tell what they're exactly looking for. But I think in the past I've seen enough sample size of what the committee, regardless of how different the committee is from year to year, quality wins. Quality wins matter. And let's be clear, quality wins and how did you challenge yourself in the non-conference? That's always mattered. That saved Ohio State on some years when they lost to an unranked Penn State team. And then Penn State goes on to win the Big Ten championship, and Ohio State makes the playoff, and Penn State does not make the playoff, even though they were Big Ten champs. And it's because Ohio State beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma that year. As well, a lot of top 10 wins, too, in the Big Ten that year. Nebraska was even a top 10 team that year. How about that? That's how long ago that was. But I think Georgia, just because they're defending national champs, they haven't lost. They beat Oregon. Destroyed Oregon. Now, at first, I didn't give Georgia too much credit for that Oregon win because I'm like, man, Oregon's bad. But Oregon, they just played really, really bad that night. I don't think they beat Georgia if they played again, but I also don't think they get blown out the way that they did against Georgia. Physically dominated.
Right.
I think, by normal people's standards. I don't know if that's a dominant. Anyways, I think Georgia would be 1. I think Alabama would be 2, mainly because the fact that they played at Texas and won. Texas is an interesting team because I don't really know who they are. I mean, the Quinn Ewers, I think they're undefeated with Quinn Ewers. And I think they beat Alabama if they had Quinn Ewers. But they beat Texas and they challenged themselves. It wasn't a neutral site game. It was at Texas. I think that they would, and plus you get the Alabama love.
Mm-hmm.
Plus they played at Texas and won, and they're undefeated. They played in a tough environment, and they were able to hold off Texas A&M with the backup quarterback. That's really what it's going to come down to. Remember, Bryce Young plays and they play like that, they probably get penalized, and they technically did. They moved back in the AP poll. I think Georgia and Alabama are 1 and 2. And then Clemson, I think they're 3, and Ohio State's 4. And I think Ohio State's the best team in the country. I told people to release if the playoff ranking came out tonight, what do you think it would look like? Not what your ranking is. What would the playoff committee, what would they do? I could see Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Clemson 3, and Ohio State at 4, mainly just because Ohio State hasn't beat a damn good team at all. They haven't played anybody. Notre Dame, the reason they're in the playoff or they're in the 4 over some of the other teams we're about to talk about is because they did challenge themselves with the Notre Dame. Yes, they played at home, but they haven't just beat teams, Kev. They've annihilated teams every single week. That there's a lot to be said about that. However, with that criteria, the team on the outside looking in, you can argue if you're going to go off the quality wins and challenging yourself in the non-conference, Tennessee should be in over Ohio State based on my own argument there.
So
I hate saying that because Ohio State's the best team in the country, folks. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's tough because the committee puts so much into quality wins and who you've played.
Right.
That's why I'm being a hypocrite by putting Ohio State 4 while I put teams 1 through 3 based on the criteria I just talked about, but then taking Tennessee and not incorporating them in there. Tennessee, they beat a top 25 Pitt team. They beat a top 25 Florida team and a top 25 LSU team. LSU's out of the top 25.
And that's exactly what I was about to say.
LSU, though.
The teams that at the time when Tennessee played them, they were ranked. They're not currently ranked. But the teams that Clemson beat, they're still ranked. So that's why
Clemson gets that love.
That's why I would give them that love. And the Ohio State thing, it's just simply because the way they're playing so efficient. They're blowing everybody out.
It's not because we're Buckeye. I feel like we're being homers because we're Buckeye.
I don't have them number 1. I wouldn't have them number 1. I wouldn't have Ohio State number 1.
The reason it's a good exercise here. We don't have them number 1, but the reasons we don't have them at number 1 are also the reasons we shouldn't even have them in the top 4, and that Tennessee should be there. But I feel like me and you are doing that. We can't put 3 SEC teams at the top, can we? But right now,
this would be a better exercise come 8
yes,
o'clock
yes.
on
So,
Saturday.
I agree with you. But like Tennessee, I think should be in, and you can't. I'm not going to put Ohio State out of the top 4. That just sounds stupid.
Because it's also the eye test, which I love. It's who you play. It's all of those things. It's not just one thing. Because Tennessee, they got some good wins and they blown people out. Ohio State has a high win and they blown people out. So I mean, I don't know, man. Which win is better? Like who are we looking at that we want to put in there instead of Ohio State? I guess will be the question.
I mean,
is it
Tennessee.
just Tennessee?
Tennessee is the team that's annoying the hell out of me because I told you yesterday on yesterday's show. I don't know how you're saying Tennessee. Tennessee's a 7.5-point dog.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time a regular season game for Alabama featured a team that were there only a single point or a single digit favorite. I don't know the last time that happened. They were 11.5-point favorites against LSU's Joe Burrow team, one arguably the best college football team ever that year, offensively especially, even talent on both sides of the ball. I don't know. You could justify Ohio State not being in the top 4. And you want to know what could happen too, Kev? I mean, let's just say Tennessee beats Alabama in a close one. Alabama's still in the top 4 because their only loss comes against somebody like they played somebody. Ohio State hasn't played anybody. You could argue Tennessee would go to 1, Georgia 2, Clemson 3, and Tennessee 4. And Ohio State 5. Like, I don't know.
What do you put the most weight on?
Contenders.
What do you put the most weight on?
I think who you play matters in college football more than anything else. I know we talked about that in football, in the NFL. The gap between the worst team in the NFL and the best team in the NFL is so significantly tight compared to the best team and even the best team in the college football playoff race to the worst team in the college football playoff race. You know what I mean? Like that's the gap. It's so wide. I think who they play matters. I think it's so tough. Everyone plays a lot of different levels of good and bad teams. So I think you have to put a lot of stock into challenge, especially the non-conference. Ohio State played Notre Dame.
Right.
That says something. All right. Texas or Alabama played at Texas. Georgia played Oregon. I think that matters. And then Clemson has 2 top 25 wins of teams who are still currently in the top 25. I think that matters as well. So I would have Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Clemson 3. Not I would have. I think this is what would happen based on what the committee tells us. And keep in mind, folks, and to your point, Kev, when you said, well, is it top 25 when you played them or where they're at now? Every time we look at the college football playoff resumes, they always show how many top 25 wins you have. And it's not based on who's ranked now. It's you beat a team that was top 25 at the time and boom. You know what I mean? Like they've always used that.
I go by
I'm with you.
After all the smoke is settled. Where do you rank now? Where you rank now? And currently Notre Dame isn't ranked.
And that's how it should be. But the committee has never done it that way. They've always done it. Oh, Ohio State has a top 25 win technically, a top 10 win technically against Notre Dame, right? So that's what's hard to jump up and down there.
So where is Texas is 22nd?
Yeah.
So I guess that will be the argument between if we're going to all agree that Clemson and Georgia is in there and Bama, and then if we're trying to put Tennessee in there instead, whose win is better, Ohio State's or Alabama's? I guess it would be Alabama's because
they're currently
Texas is currently ranked. It was on the road as opposed to Ohio State was at home. But then I like to throw in the eyeball test as well. I guess it's kind of like, what do you percentage base it off of? And that's way too deep in the weeds. But, I like to look at all those things. I like to look at the eyeball test. I like to look at who you played. So it's tough. It's tough. It's definitely going to be a tough situation. But you know how this always goes, Kenner. It's the first week of October, second week of October. November comes around, it's going to get a little clearer. Second week of November is going to get a little clearer. Teams are going to start falling off one by one because eventually they start playing each other. Because this upcoming weekend, Michigan plays Penn State. Then eventually Penn State's going to play Ohio State. And then eventually Ohio State's going to play Michigan. Just like this with Alabama and Tennessee. Tennessee if things go their way versus Bama this weekend, they're going to jump up there. Everybody's going to be waving the orange pom-poms, checkerboard, end zone. But guess what? They still got to play Kentucky. They still got to play Georgia. So this thing is going to work itself out. But currently, the team that's rising the fastest out of anybody is Tennessee.
Yeah, so again, if the college football playoff ranking came out tonight, Georgia 1, Bama 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4, Tennessee 5, Oklahoma State 7. They got a win over top 25 Baylor. I put Penn State, who has a win over Auburn, at 8. I put USC at 9 and UCLA 10. Michigan's not a top 10 team.
Not top 10?
Maybe 11. They're not. They literally have played nobody.
True.
They literally have played. They don't have one out. Like every team we just talked about has something of their resume you could justify. Whether it's Oklahoma, who has Lincoln Riley and a Heisman contending quarterback and one of the best wide receivers in football. Like their identity is that explosive offense. That explosive offense is why they can contend with anybody that's in this top 10. Michigan, I'm not sure. They're up 17-10 after 3 quarters against Indiana. Every one of the UCLA, USC, all these guys have better resumes than Michigan. Michigan should not be in the top 10.
Who you got this weekend, Michigan or Penn State? Because I know you hate Penn State too.
Is it at Penn State?
It is. I believe that is the whiteout game.
We're going with the home team. Penn State. So see, I don't even have to worry about it.
I think. Hold on, let me double check. Or we just asked our producer, Shaw.
No, it's at Michigan.
It's at Michigan. My bad.
So, yeah, but I'm
so now that you know it's at
I'm pumped
Michigan
for next week though, because Penn State, Michigan, Tennessee, Alabama. It's either gonna create a lot of chaos, like Michigan beating Penn State. Well, I think no, because those two are one. The winner of that just moves. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of both holding a spot right now. Tennessee, Alabama. Tennessee could win in a close one and it not hurt Alabama. Alabama could win in a close one and still help Tennessee.
I just want these games to be close, regardless of the fact. I want the Tennessee Bama game to be close, as well as the Michigan Penn State, not just for my watching power or watching and having a good time watching football, but like it creates that buzz, because if you get blown out, look what happened to Oregon. They only have one loss, but nobody's talking about Oregon. Nobody's talking about them, and they're going to be the very last team anybody's talking about with one loss when we start talking about these one-loss teams, because eventually we're going to start talking about one-loss teams because we have 15 undefeated teams right now, and 13 of them being from the Power 5. So, yeah, we're going to get to that point eventually, but when you get blown out, you're way in the back. You're the last one to get in to this argument when you get blown out.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. All you got to do is download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, and it's super easy to use. Come on, Ohio. Come on, Dayton. This is your chance to get in on the action. Join today using my promo code KINNER, KINNER. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Seriously, if you have not downloaded that app, I know we can't start placing bets till January, but it's important that everyone go get that FanDuel app downloaded right now. For a limited time, you can use my promo code KINNER. And then when you register and you use that code, you're going to have $100 waiting for you in your account, so that come January, when you start placing those bets, boom, you got $100 right off the bat. You don't even have to start losing your own money. You could just lose the money I gave you. $100 in free bets, but go download that FanDuel app. Everyone's like, well, why are we going to download it now? We can't even start placing bets till January. Well, right now, take advantage of the incentive of downloading it now, registering now. That way, come January, when it's time to start placing those bets, you already have your account created and you already have $100 waiting for you in your account, so you can, start placing those bets. Use my promo code KINNER, KINNER. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Folks, I love this time of year as we're getting further and further into the season, and resumes are starting to kind of expand a little bit now. Right now, it's fun because there's a lot of teams at the table. But that party size is going to start to dwindle. But I love the idea of Tennessee creating chaos. I love the idea of UCLA and USC creating chaos out of the Pac-12. All right, I love the fact that Oklahoma State, they just beat Baylor. They're sitting in the background Oklahoma State's been very quiet.
Yeah.
They're being super quiet. They love that we're all talking about USC and UCLA. They love that we're talking Tennessee. They love that we're talking Michigan and Penn State. They love that everyone's not focused on them. That's a team that can create some chaos as well. I love it. There's a lot of potential chaos, and I think the biggest domino to start that chaos effect is Tennessee and the Vols this coming up Saturday.
There's 13 undefeated Power 5 teams. Can you name them?
When we come back.
Okay.
518-1410.
No cheating.
Yes, 518-1410. Give us a call. Is there a scenario? What scenario, or not scenario, but what criteria do you guys use for the college football playoff rankings? Because I'm sitting here saying Michigan has no business being in the conversation because they haven't played anybody, but technically I'm being a hypocrite. Either is Ohio State. They haven't played anybody either. So why is it okay for me to say that Michigan's not allowed to come to the cool kids party because they haven't played anybody, but yet the team we love and hold dear to our hearts, they haven't played anybody either. Alabama has a great win, top 25 win on the road. Georgia blew out Oregon. They're undefeated. They're defending champions. All right, how about, I'm talking about Tennessee. They have 3 top 25 wins. They have one of the most explosive. They're just as explosive as Ohio State. They have a chance to play Alabama on Saturday. And then you have Clemson, who has 2 legit top 25 wins, including a top 10 win over NC State. Folks,
But they play in the ACC, man.
oh, yeah, it doesn't count. So I my favorite time of year, because you Buckeye fans are absolutely crazy and you're the most homeristic people I've ever met in my life. So I'm just curious. Help me understand how we're going to compartmentalize justifying Ohio State getting in the top 4 over all those other teams who actually have resumes. If Michigan can't be in the top 4 because they don't have a resume with a good quality win, how are the Buckeyes supposed to be in over the teams who have actually beat good teams? I'm curious, Buckeye fans. Prove to me that y'all are the most homeristic fans in the world. Convince me. 518-1410. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right?
AFC.com. That's finger looking good.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try Babbel for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
If you're looking to obtain a quality education at a low price, look no further than Clark State. With over 160 degrees and certificates available, Clark State has a path for you to reach your goals. Our tuition rates are one of the lowest in Ohio, so getting that degree is easier than ever without breaking the bank. For more information about Clark State, visit us at www.clarkstate.edu.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. For a limited time, we have 22 Honda Passports and 22 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9% and 2022 Honda Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%. Remember, we can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build new Hondas every day. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We're on Route 35 just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Get a stylish solution for every room with window treatments at Menards and save with 11% off everything. Get window images, room darkening vinyl and aluminum blinds, faux wood blinds, and cellular shades trimmed to width for free. Choose from durable, economical options to stunning custom designs, all 11% off. Good through October 16th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Ohio's educators make a difference in their students' lives every day. From classroom teachers to para-educators, professors, bus drivers, school secretaries, custodians, and more. These are the people who have dedicated their lives to serving our kids and making our public schools great. And we want to say thank you. Join the Ohio Education Association in recognizing an education champion in your community. Go to ohea.org/education champions to submit your nomination now.
Need to visit the Ohio BMV? Go online first. It could save you a trip. It's now easier and more convenient than ever to get what you need from the BMV online. Need to renew your driver's license? Renew online. And if you need to renew your vehicle registration, visit one of our new BMV Express kiosks or go online. If you do need to visit a BMV agency, use the Get in Line online tool, also found on the website, to save your spot and minimize your time waiting. For more services available online, check out bmv.ohio.gov.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungeredInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash is live on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We are also live at wingam.com on the stream. And then, of course, you could watch us live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel and the Justin Kenner Show Facebook page. You can also catch previous shows in their entirety in video form, of course, at wingam.com. So go and check that out right now, wingam.com. That's where you can, of course, check out our high school football game of the week schedule. We'll be at Fairmont this Friday night. We've gone in stretches where we had like 3 straight Miamisburg games. Now we have 3 straight Fairmont games. We're going to close out the season against Northmont and Springfield a week from Friday. That's it. That's week 10. Season's almost done, at least regular season. The playoffs, everybody gets in the dang playoffs.
Everybody.
So there you go. But we welcome you back. Speaking of playoffs, we will talk Major League Baseball playoffs coming up here in just about 10 minutes. The Guardians and the Yankees going to be in action coming up later on tonight. There's a lot of exciting playoff games going on right now. I want to close the door on the college football playoff conversation that we just had, because I think right now this is the most fun you can have talking about the college football playoff, because right now there's still a lot of teams with the door open.
Mm-hmm.
As every week goes by, more and more doors get shut, and then we get to a smaller sample size of teams, and then you know what I mean? It's still exciting, don't get me wrong, but right now there's a lot of channels that we can go down that makes sense for why certain teams can make the college football playoff. And Tennessee, I think, is the most interesting of all the teams that have a chance to do it this coming up week. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. So I asked the question, like, for one, if scheduling doesn't matter, if strength of schedule doesn't matter, and we're just going to say, well, we don't need, who cares about resumes? We know. Well, let me ask you, Kev. Let me ask you this. Throw out strength of schedule. Forget having to see them play. Who are the 4 best teams in college? We don't need a strength of schedule element. We don't need a who have they played, who have they beaten. Throw those elements out. The top 4 teams in the country are who? That we just know these 4 teams are the best. We don't even need a regular season. We don't even need a resume or 5 college football playoff reveals to get there. Let's just start the playoff today with these 4 teams. I don't need to be convinced. Those 4 teams are who, Kev?
3 are for sure. Ohio State, Bama, and Georgia. Those are the 3 for sure. We were all weary about Clemson. Is Clemson taking a step back, or is Clemson back to being Clemson of the last decade or so? So we kind of needed to see what they were going to do or bring to the party. But those teams are the teams that of the moment for sure.
So who's the best of those outlier teams? Is it Tennessee? Because I feel like if I had to pick 4 teams right now, forget resumes. If I just said, okay, the 4 best teams in the country are, it's Georgia, Alabama, not in any particular order, but Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee out of the SEC, and Ohio State. I don't think any, like Clemson's in the conversation because their resume's putting them there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like USC, UCLA, their resume's putting them there. You see this, you watch Tennessee, they're for real. And I haven't said that about 4 teams. I don't know the last time that I felt that there were 4 championship contenders in a season. That could change over the next couple of weeks. Don't get me wrong. But as of right now, I feel like there are 4 legitimate championship contenders. If Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, or Ohio State are hoisting up that trophy at the end of the year, I won't be surprised by any one of them. The teams we're talking about in Clemson, UCLA, USC, those teams, Kev, Penn State, I would be very surprised if they're hoisting a trophy at the end of the year. But I'm still aggressively and passionately talking about their chances to make the top 4. So that's the difference, I guess. Are you there with Tennessee?
I'm there offensively with them. Their defense is still a little and then their starting safety just got arrested on Sunday, so he won't be playing. Tennessee. He just got arrested on Sunday, and he likely will not be playing this upcoming Saturday, which kind of sucks. But, you know, so I look at all the other teams out there vying for this, and we go through this exercise every year, and 9 times out of 10, it turns out with the same 3 teams up there, and then it's a round robin who gets that 4th spot. But this year, I believe that the round robin is going to be way more exciting because I think there's going to be a lot more close games. So the argument for the number 4 spot is going to be intensified.
Which is what I'm really wanting.
Right.
That's why I don't want the 12-team playoff. I just want that one magical season where there are 6 legitimate playoff teams for 4 spots. That's what I want. There's always the top 6, but we usually always agree 5 and 6. There's a reason they're not in the top 4. And sometimes you could argue, like last year, Cincinnati was the 4th best team in the country resume-wise. I don't know if they were the 4th best team in the country, but resume-wise, you couldn't really argue anything else. Every other team had a loss or was blown out or whatever, or had a late season loss. So I bring that up because it doesn't matter if we know who the 4 best teams are. And I think we all know that the 4 best teams in the country, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee, in no particular order. We know that. We don't need to see them play anybody to know that. Maybe Tennessee we do. They're new money. We need to see them prove it a little bit. But for sure, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, those 3 teams, we don't need to see them face anybody to know that they're for real. I'm saying Tennessee because I think they check off everything. Like my friend Brad Mays, shout out to Brad Mays. I think he's in the chat. He's letting everyone know about Tennessee. Brad. He's a big Tennessee fan. He's been telling me about Tennessee, and I'm like, okay, Brad, okay, go Vols, okay. And then Kev's like, oh, Tennessee, they're going to beat Alabama. I'm like, oh, okay, Kev, okay, whatever you say. Oh, man, okay. But y'all two have been right. I watch them. I see elite quarterback. I see elite weapons on offense, good offensive line. They have it all. Weapons on defense. That's why I'm saying that. So I'm saying all that because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we know that those are the 4 best teams in the country because resumes matter. They have to matter because if they don't matter, then this whole playoff thing is just a scam to begin with. And most people believe it's a scam anyways. But the resumes matter.
Right.
The college football playoff has never been about the 4 best teams. It's always been about the 4 best resumes. So Buckeye fans, before you get angry at me, I'm having a hard time believing that Ohio State has one of the 4 best resumes when you're talking about, you said how many undefeated teams right now, Kev?
There's 13 Power 5.
So 13 undefeated Power 5 teams. I think Ohio State's the best team in the country, but that's not what we're debating here. We're debating the 4 best resumes because that's what the playoff is. It's not the 4 best teams. It's the 4 best resumes. And every single team has good quality wins, a good non-conference opponent. Ohio State, we thought, had that. Notre Dame. I thought they were safe. Notre Dame's garbage. That's a 2-loss team that Ohio State won by 11. Okay, 11. That's not good enough. I don't care if it was week 1. The point is Ohio State, if the college football playoff rankings came out tonight, I do not think that they would be in the top 4 or they would be number 4 because they're just Ohio State. But I've asked Buckeye fans to help me out here and to take their homer caps off and explain to me why would we justify Ohio State being in the top 4 when they've played nobody when we sit here and rip Michigan for playing nobody as well. That's what I need to know. Why would we look at Clemson, who's beat 2 top 25 teams, including a top 10 win over NC State? Why would we look at them and say, oh, okay, yeah, but those aren't real top 25 teams. But if Ohio State could play an unranked Notre Dame team and only win by 11, and we say, well, that's a respectable program. I don't know how we do that. We got to stop being hypocrites. That's all I'm asking. By the way, when that first college football playoff ranking comes out, Ohio State would have played Penn State by then.
Right.
Everything will be justifiable at that point. So we'll go from there. But 518-1410, I want to hear from Buckeye fans on this as you call in because I'm curious, how are we going to move the goalpost on this to justify Ohio State if the rankings came out tonight? Tennessee, Oklahoma State, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson. UCLA just got a top 25 win. Ohio State doesn't have that. Ohio State's just been beating up on a lot of bad teams. So this comment came in a little bit ago on the Facebook page, Kev. Alan Hubler, however you pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, sir, if I mispronounced it. But Alan, Kev, says, Ohio State took the risk of scheduling a traditional power. They can't play the games for Notre Dame. Alan, we got to stop with that. That doesn't matter. By the way, more calls coming in. We'll get you guys in line. But we got to stop with that excuse making of, well, it's not Ohio State's fault that, Alabama or that Notre Dame is not good. It's not their fault, but you also can't reward them because they played a traditional power. Notre Dame is not playing like a traditional power. That doesn't matter. All right, Texas is not a good traditional Texas team. All right, they're not an elite Texas team, but they're at least a top 25 Texas team that Alabama beat on the road. So Alabama has at least a good quality. We always rip Alabama. Oh, they don't play anybody. They have a better win than Ohio State does at this point. If the rankings came out tonight, you cannot justify putting Ohio State in the top 4. I don't know how you could do that.
So this goes back to which we were talking about in the last segment. Are we talking about where they were when they played or where they at currently? So that's my thing about the committee. I'm never sure what they do. Is it where they are currently or when they played them? Because sometimes
I do that. Every year I make note of that. Every year we have this conversation on the Sunday morning show, on that Selection Sunday show. Every year with Heather Dinich comes on, the top 25 wins, even in the AP, that's on their resume. When they beat them at the time, that's the top 25. They're getting credit for that top 25 win.
So Ohio State has a top 5 win.
By those standards, I guess. But others are
on.
trying to discredit Alabama's top 25 win.
Well, at the time, Texas was not ranked.
So does that not count then?
I'm trying to figure it out.
And I'm with you. Like, that's why I don't, because I don't agree with the playoff committee using where they were at when you beat them. It's where they're at now.
Right.
Because where they're at now, everyone else has still better resumes than Ohio State.
Right.
So that's what's so confusing about all this. I don't know what the hell to make of it. I want Ohio State to be in, but I'm a hypocrite if I say that they should be in because they haven't played anybody.
Because if we're going by when they played, where were they ranked? Ohio State has the best win because they beat a number 5 ranked team.
Only by 11, though. They didn't pull them out. They didn't dominate like Michigan did over Indiana. 518-1410. Kev, who's up?
CJ, line 1.
All right, let's go to CJ. CJ, what's up, man? How are you?
You're killing. Oh, man. Man, you're killing me picking on Shaw.
I'm a bully. I'm like Devontae Adams, man. I'm just pushing people out of my way, man. Yeah.
What's up, getting to what you're talking about, man. I can't agree with you. Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State. They're the best team in the country. The eyeball test goes for it. North Carolina's not. It could beat Clemson, and then they're in it just because they beat Clemson because it's Clemson. At the end of the day, it's who they play. It's Notre Dame. You guys beat at Notre Dame. They were good then. It's going to help you at the end of the day.
They weren't good then. Notre Dame's not good. That's not a good football team.
I'm not saying that they're good. I'm saying at that moment, the college people are going to say, it's Notre Dame. You beat Notre Dame. It's going to look good at the end of the year. It's just like last year. UC beat Notre Dame. UC got ahead of everybody. There was a lot of losses that happened that helped. But that's the end of that. At the end of the day, that committee is going to look at it, and they look at who the teams are. You beat Notre Dame. There's people like Notre Dame. That's what it comes down to.
But at the time, at the end of the regular season last year, Notre Dame only had that one loss, and that one loss was to UC, and UC obviously was undefeated. With Notre Dame falling to Marshall,
helped.
Notre Dame falling to Marshall is kind of what stains the win for Ohio State. And for me, on a personal level, like I'm the guy on the show that says it really don't matter. Long as Ohio State wins, we're gonna be exactly where we want to be. So
I agree.
We can pick hairs and figure out, like, all right, they're gonna be the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the 4 seed, and then get into all the minutia of traveling to whatever coast to play in the bowl game and yada 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 and all that type of stuff. I'm not going to the game, so it don't matter to me. But people that can afford to go to the games, I guess it matters to them. But, I mean, for Ohio State to get a win over a then number 5 Notre Dame, that's always my question, because to me, like I guess I consume too much of this content because you listen to the Fox Sports people. They talk about it where they are currently, and then you talk to the ESPN people. It's where they were ranked when they played. So it's like it's so confusing. So I just want to hear it from the committee chair's mouth. What are y'all talking about in there?
The criteria,
but they never give a exact answer. Like, I want to hear, like, okay, how much is percentage based eye test? How much percentage is the resume? How much percentage is it based off of this being a name brand team? Because that's the thing that talked about in those rings too.
That's the biggest thing, in my opinion. I mean, ESPN's committee show is not, if you have a 2-loss Alabama team and their 2 losses are Tennessee and Georgia and Tennessee are the number 1 and 2 teams going into the SEC final, Alabama is going to be 5th in the nation. If Ohio State's undefeated, they're 3rd or 4th in the nation. If Clemson's undefeated, they're up there. It's that team that's number 6 and 7 are looking outside. Oklahoma, because they always were seen as maybe not. They always were looking out. They had a good team. They had a chance. You just had to wait for a loss with the other teams. Ohio State's in the best seat right now because you have 3 good teams in the SEC. You got 2 good teams that are with USC and UCLA, and then you got who is it? Clemson. Those teams are gonna have losses.
Yeah, they're all gonna start playing each other.
State. Yeah, they're all going to start playing one another, and then Shaw's going to get to tell you guys that Michigan beats Ohio State.
Now. Let's not get too crazy here.
CJ off the top rope.
I just had to go.
CJ, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Shaw, I am sorry, man, but like everyone comes at him.
Oh,
everyone.
my goodness.
But Shaw chimed in too. He goes, but these schools can't control what happens after they play them. I hate that argument. No, but at the end of the day, this is like there's too many whiny people out there. It's not fair. We can't control what happens with them. Oh, we can't control if they're good or bad. You're right, you can't. But they're either good or they're bad when you play them. They're either good or bad for your resume. It's really not that hard. Does that team help or hurt your resume? All wins are good. Wins are good. You undefeated, you're in. Ohio State, they're undefeated, they're in. But what I want to have happen, Kev, is an undefeated Oklahoma State Big 12 champion. Big 12 is better than the Big 10. I don't care how good Ohio State is. Big 12 is better than the Big 10. Big 10 is garbage. Penn State will beat Michigan on Sunday or Saturday, and then Penn State will lose the week before Ohio State like they always do, and then Ohio State will bludgeon them, and then the whole Big Ten's ruined because you know what I mean? That's what the Big Ten does. So Oklahoma State's undefeated. Clemson's undefeated. All right. And then Georgia and Alabama undefeated, potentially heading into the SEC title game. So now you got those two teams in the mix. Tennessee will have one loss. They'll be in the mix. An undefeated Oklahoma State and Clemson team, that's 5 teams. That's 6 teams for one spot. That's why I'm like, resumes matter. The only reason we've never had to test that theory is because it's always been an easy 14 playoff. We've sometimes had to, you know what I mean? Like, Kevin, there's never been a time where we've been where the committee's been challenged. Last year would have been that time. I was so praying for chaos last year. And they got bailed out. No, they
get chaos.
No, I mean, chaos is in the committee actually having to make a tough choice. That wasn't a tough choice putting Cincinnati there. Oh, they finally gave Cincinnati the respect. Everyone else had a loss or 2 losses. That wasn't a tough decision to put Cincinnati there. Who else were they going to put there? 2 lost Ohio State. Who lost late? Oregon lost late in the season again. Baylor lost. Oklahoma State would have probably got it. Oklahoma State would have probably been in the playoff last year if they wouldn't have lost so late. They
lost in the Big 12 championship.
But they're probably taking Cincinnati's 4th spot if they win that game the way they're supposed to.
Baylor was top 10.
Out. Yeah.
So for Penn State, obviously they had that team up north this Saturday at noon. Then they play Minnesota at 7:30, and then Ohio State on the 29th. So that's the next 3 games for Penn State. Don't really care what happens with them versus Michigan on Saturday, long as it's a close game. But I do pray that they beat Minnesota so they're undefeated or only have 1 loss when they play Ohio State.
John Harvey taking a shot at not Kev Nash's Tennessee, but taking a shot. John Harvey taking a shot at Brad Mays' Tennessee team. I'd hope Tennessee is good. The quarterback is 40 playing against kids.
What?
He's the Albert Pujols of quarterbacks right there. Who we have up next, Kev?
We have Jerry.
Jerry. How are you?
I call you when my team loses the night.
That's because I called you out. Otherwise, we'd be like just wondering where you went. Probably when you get your second win in week 8.
Me out. I was at work.
I thought we were going to hear from you in week 8 when you got your second win of the season or something. I didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
What's up with your wide receiver being a bully, by the way, pushing down innocent cameramen? He's the Draymond Green of the NFL. Big bully.
That's right. Draymond Green's got a lot of championships, by the way. Anyways.
Not your Raiders,
I agree with you on your comment about Ohio State does not have one of the best resumes at the moment.
Oh, cool. I'll let you keep talking then. We agree.
No, I mean, it's true, though. I mean, Notre Dame, let's be honest, they were overrated. They're likely to finish somewhere around 8-4, 9-3. Not terrible, but not great either. Wisconsin's a basket case. So, yeah, I mean, dude, our resume is not great. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if we win every game, we're in. And if we don't, we shouldn't be in. It's that simple. So that's my take on it. By the way, don't be surprised if the Raiders come out of the bye, even without Adams, and win the next 3 games and end up 500 after 8 games.
Not for going for 2-point conversions.
Well, no, right. Granted, but we do have the Texans. I think it's the Texans, Jaguars, Saints, Colts, We got Denver coming up again. So, I mean, we could rattle off. We got a bye this week, and then we could rattle off 4 or 5 in a row.
No, and Jerry, next time we'll talk a little longer. I'm just out of time up against the wall. My boss is going to kill me if I miss these spots. We got to bounce. But Jerry's right, though. It is funny. 3 points. Losing by 3 points makes you a bad football team. The Raiders win last night. They only lost by 3. They win last night. The Raiders have turned it around. The division, it's a whole different picture, right? The Cleveland Browns this past week. Cade York missed that by this much. If he makes that, the Browns are 3-2. And they're at the top of the division, and we're looking at them in a completely different light. But now they lost, and now, Cleveland, they're in trouble. They have all these issues. The Cincinnati Bengals, they're in top of the division right now, and that means they would have won 3 straight to their figure. They missed it. They lost by 3 because Justin Tucker. So it's just one of those things where the Bengals are in trouble because of 3 points. The Browns are in trouble because of 3 points. The Raiders are in trouble. All 3 of those teams, they're on the 3-point winning side as regulation expires. We're talking about these teams in different lights. They're not that far off from being positive storylines in football. The Bengals,
try losing by 35 points.
So, yeah.
Go
and
Steelers.
on that note, have a good night, everyone. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.